A Stanley woman convicted of first-degree intentional homicide learned her fate in a Dunn County courtroom.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Ezra J. McCandless, guilty.
It will be at least 50 years before McCandless ever sees the outside of a prison.
This video contains the interview of a man whose girlfriend cheated on him and then killed the other man in an effort to get back together. In the summer of 2017, 19-year-old Ezra McCandless met Jason Menge, a 33-year-old National Guard medic. The two quickly entered a romantic relationship and began living together by August. In the early fall of 2017, she found out she was pregnant with Menge's child. Shortly after getting an abortion in October, McCandless began an affair with 23-year-old barista and substitute teacher Alex Woodworth. In February 2018, McCandless told Menge that one of his friends sexually assaulted her. He believed her until sometime later when he saw phone messages that showed the encounter to have been consensual. He also discovered McCandless's affair with Woodworth. McCandless regretted the end of the relationship and blamed Woodworth for things ending with Menge. On March 22, 2018, McCandless confronted Woodworth at his home, and Menge followed, worried about her intentions. After a brief police check, McCandless and Woodworth went to a public location to supposedly deal with their issues. A few hours later, about 4:15 p.m., McCandless knocked on the door of dairy farmer Don Sipple. She was covered in mud, blood, and bruises, and barefoot. She asked for a doctor, claiming she was a victim of an assault. She was taken to a local hospital where she asked for Menge. She initially told officers, paramedics, and hospital staff that she could not remember what had happened. The next day, the police discovered Woodworth's body hanging from the back of McCandless's 2003 Chevy Impala on a dirt road near the farmhouse. He had suffered 16 stab wounds to his head, neck, groin, and torso.
That's Alex?
Yeah, Alex is a great dude.
He seemed like a good guy. Met him there the other night.
Well, like I told you on our little phone conversation there, I don't know that maybe just people in the area or community that heard or something.
Okay.
That realize the impact on you as well. You know?
Well, yeah, it sucks. Like, I was socially ostracized pretty much from a lot of this stuff. It's like, for a long time, like, my closest friend group was really, like, off-put, so it was like, I mean, I only really had detectives talking to me. My real friends from before weren't really talking to me. Alex always stuck on my side, but it was rough, man.
Well, I bet it was. I know when we were talking to people, yeah, they kind of didn't want you around, and because they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
and like,
even just little things. I would look in the paper and be like, look up to see what was going on with the case, and be like, oh, anybody was seen walking or jogging or biking in this area? It's like, why would they go biking? You know, it makes you like paranoid. I'm like, yeah, what does that mean, man?
Well, we can get going. I don't want to rob your whole afternoon from you, but as you recall, we did a download of your phone too early on. So there's just some questions in there on that information too that we have some questions on. So cool. This might seem a bit random here.
John the mustache. Okay.
Yeah, what all transpired with that? I think you guys had kind of talked about a lot of that already, but you got those pictures. This came off your phone. I don't know if you remember that conversation, John and Or tell me who that conversation would have been between.
Oh, this is Ezra and John.
Yep, Ezra and John had that conversation, right?
Yep.
And do you know when that was? I mean,
I'm guessing it would be the dates that are on here.
Right. But when were you gone to the military?
I was gone.
Menge served in the National Guard. During these times away from home, McCandless would engage in affairs.
Because this alleged assault happened while you were gone to the military.
Roger that. Okay. This is going back into it. So. All right. I have this stuff written down. So apparently, the 4th was when she said the first assault happened. I was at recertification on the 5th, Monday, and that's when she said assault 2 apparently happened. Because like she said, there was an assault at night and assault in the morning.
Yeah, so
because
the night of the 4th?
The night of the 4th, I believe, is when everybody, Ryan, all of them were drinking together at his place.
At John's place.
So like they're all drinking together, and from what she had told me, with as much of the problem is like dealing with like so many, like the narrators. It's like, I don't know if you're a trustworthy narrator, you know, in these situations. So it's like, she said that she got so drunk she was puking and all this kind of stuff, and woke up and felt like something was going on, but then passed back out. And then stuff happened in the morning, is what she said. But then it was like the stories kept changing from both of them. Like the story kept changing from John, the story kept changing from her, you know, and I was like, I don't know what's...
You just highlighted that and you just put in assault.
John Hansen was a friend of Menge. McCandless accused him of assault in an attempt to hide their affair.
Yeah, I just put...
That's what she indicated to you, that these dates happen.
Yeah, because once you talked to me about this stuff, I was like, we got to go like do something, even though it's like way past, you know, the date. Because like...
That's what's important to me. On this, it's February 11th, and she's still talking to him.
That's what I said. I was like, I don't understand, because this is what I meant. Like, I was like, I'm like under the impression, like, why would you keep talking to someone who assaulted you? But also, the night that I found out about all this stuff from her, I had talked to Jonathan. I was like, hey, so what the heck happened, man? Like, what's going on? And he said, nothing happened. We never had sex. You know, he said all these things to me. I was like, okay, cool. Well, this is what she said to me on my phone. You know, and then he was like, oh, then he changed his story again. And then I sent some more stuff, and then he changed his story again. And I was like, okay, I don't want to talk to you about this, because you're obviously not, every time I give you another detail, you change the story. Mm-hmm. So I was like, here, you just talk to Ezra instead. And then I turned the speakerphone on, and I slid the door to make it sound like I was leaving the building. And then it sounded like he was like leading her. It was like, it only happened once. It was consensual. This and this. And it's like, it was just, the tone was very strange. I was like, I don't like this way this is going. So I was like, well, both of them don't seem trustworthy at this point, but I'm just going to err on the side of caution, and we should probably go in, you know. And then we came down here, and she had to do all this stuff. But
okay. So you were the one that urged her to report it then?
And I was like, well, I mean, I didn't know if it was an assault or not, because I didn't.
Okay. And where did that conversation take place?
That was at that hotel. Like, I had gotten her a hotel when she was in town, and then she called me back because she was acting all weird and making, like, you know, because she was like...
What motel?
I can't
remember. Was that like Scottish Inn?
I don't think it was the Scottish Inn. It was a different one. It was over by, like, where the clinic is.
Okay. So what was the significance in you taking these photographs?
Oh, no, wait. It was over by not Clancy's. What's the Irish pub that's by the hospital?
Oh,
across the street.
O'Leary's?
There's an attached motel. I think it's the one that's attached to that one.
Okay. Did you kind of call her out on these?
Yeah, I was like, well, what the heck?
Is that why you took pictures of them?
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? What are your guys' stories don't make any sense? You know, and
you're talking this way after the 4th and the 5th.
Yeah, I was like, so, and she's like, well, it's like a court, because between all three of them, they were into this crazy existential, like, nihilistic stuff. Like, they're reading all these books, you know, like, there's one about this, like, neo-Nazi guy, and, like, it's just like watching the world burn because nothing matters in life, you know. No one has to be born, and there's, the only rules you make are, you know, like, there are no rules. It's like, you can do whatever you want to do, it's just the repercussions. And it's like, I don't know, these books are pretty heavy, dude. Like, I don't know, for a girl who's younger and very impressionable and also, like, kind of spiraling through depressions, because, like, she had, you know, kind of like the postpartum depression thing from the abortion and everything. Mm-hmm. So, like, this is probably not great reading material to be, like, ingesting right now. Like, you're already at a low, you're unemployed. It's just the holiday seasons and stuff like that, like post-holiday seasons, there's a lot of depression issues with people around that time.
Absolutely.
So I was like, I don't know what, because like, it's like everyone was talking about stuff, but not talking to me about the stuff.
Okay. And you said it was the three of them into it, her, John, and
Alex. Yeah, they're
and
all.
And your roommate?
No.
A different,
Alex, the deceased.
Oh, okay.
23-year-old Alex Woodworth was another man that McCandless was having an affair with. The two were closer in age, and had more in common. I recently released another shocking case on my Patreon. This video shows the interview of a man who, after being involved in the murder of a man and his wife, later ended up shooting a 12-year-old boy in the head. You can watch it right now at patreon.com/strangerstoriesplus.
Is that who she's talking about in here as well, on that first page? Take some reading, maybe.
Oh, this is the stuff that she wrote, right? Is this like the whole, like this is how it goes?
Yeah, I think so. But it's who the Alex was she's referring to there.
Yeah, that's the Alex Woodworth.
Okay. So she figured you had been talking with him as well?
With Alex?
Yeah, doesn't she?
Yeah, what is? I cannot have any.
I cannot have you discussing my case or what?
Oh, this was the assault case, I'm assuming, right?
The John?
Yeah.
The John case?
The John case would be assault with John. Because she had said that she had gone to Alex's house after, so like initially it had happened, I was still gone.
Yeah,
so
she
she
said
said
second assault happened at your house.
That's what she was saying, that it happened in my bedroom when he dropped her off. But, I mean, it's all like these narrators are like, yeah.
Okay. So that you would say is Alex Woodworth there, not your roommate.
This is at Woodworth, yes. Okay. Is there anything else in here?
I don't think so. Let me take a look and see on that last page there.
And the last time we talked, a lot of this, why we wanted to talk today is the last time we talked, nobody had time to go through all your phone download, and now there's things that we got questions about. That's why we just wanted to figure this all out. And we kind of wanted to wait till we had all the questions so we could make this a one-time shot.
That's the Racy's thing.
Yeah, so where is this board at?
This is in the men's bathroom at Racy's.
Okay, and how did this come about? Did you write this on there?
Negative.
Do you know who wrote this?
I told her this was in the bathroom, and I was like, I don't know what this is all about, but, so like...
You just happened to notice the phone number, and it was hers? That's a dream.
Well, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, is it, because someone had mentioned to me, like, oh, is your ex-girlfriend's number up there now? And I was like, what are you talking about? And it's like in this yellow, so I was like, it looked like someone had written it and then tried to bleach it off.
Did you message her? There's some messages about apparently black marker erases and turns yellow or something.
Yeah, I said like I tried to like get some of the rest of it off, but I ended up just going over the top of it because I was like, well.
Okay. When did you become aware of that?
I suppose whatever date that I had messaged her about it. It's kind of hard to remember.
So when the picture was taken, that was
probably I would assume because like, I went in there and looked like, hey, this is pretty fucked up. Like, because like she was going through this situation where everyone was talking shit about her and making her out to sound like a whore. I was like, well, that's when the day that happened. Oh my god. Okay.
Do you remember what her response was in reference to that? And I may have not read it. Maybe it's in there.
That's fine. There's nothing on that.
That's when
was she getting phone calls?
I have no idea.
She didn't indicate all of a sudden people are calling her,
soliciting. And also she used both bathrooms a lot of times because like it's kind of like one of those situations where I was like, I don't know what's going on. I mean, she was gender neutral for quite a while. You know, she like after like when she was younger. All the assaults and stuff that had happened, she decided she wanted to portray more of a masculine. She cut all her hair. She like dressed more like overalls and like guys kind of clothes because she didn't want to be like seen as a target anymore. So like a long time when we first started like hanging out and dating, she dressed very masculine. She just like she didn't want to portray her feminine side that much. So she would. And, like, Races has always been kind of one of those places where they're more understanding. Like, now that Jeremy's gone especially, that, you know, it's just a bathroom. You know, people just need to go in and avoid. It's not like you have to have a certain set of organs to use a bathroom. Sure. Unless you need tampons or something specific, you know.
So the Life Starts Now, when you photographed that, is that why you photographed it?
I wrote over the top of it because we had a talk the night or two before with her father, and I was like, maybe it would make her feel better.
So you wrote that?
I wrote the Life Starts Now. Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
So her father, I had talked to her, and her and her dad never really talked that much about serious stuff. Not Jimmy, but
McCandless's biological father was not a part of her life. Her mother's partner, Joshane Carlin, adopted McCandless when she was 4 years old. They divorced when McCandless was 12 years old, but she continued to have a close relationship with her father.
Joshane?
the other one was in prison. Sir Stanley.
Yeah, I think that's Joshane, isn't it?
Yeah, just last. Okay, I believe so. So, like, she had sent me some stuff that her father had talked to, because she said her dad talked to her, and, like, they spent, a good hour or so having a conversation about, like, all this stuff happens, and it doesn't mean you need to stop. It doesn't mean you need to stop trying, because, like, you need to take control of your life. It's, what do you say, like, you give her a time, because, like, when they finished the conversation, it was, like, 12-something or 11-something or whatever. It's like, this is it. It's really, like, fucking life starts now. Like, get your shit together. Stop worrying about all this other stuff. Stop worrying about your mistakes and the bad things that you've done. Just, life starts now.
Okay. On the Instagram stuff, example 2, would that be Julia?
Julia, her friend?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, example 02? Yeah.
That's Julia?
That's Julia.
Yeah.
I can't remember her last name.
So, would Julia post?
Yes.
Okay. The day this kind of went down.
The driving day?
Well, you're going to the laundromat.
Yeah. Oh, the day when everything went down. Okay.
Yeah, so you're going to the laundromat. This last kind of, you're telling her, Ezra, you're going to the laundromat.
Yeah, we had a conversation a little bit the night before, and then I woke up early, and I ended up taking another nap. And I was like, well, my Alex gave me an earful about her still getting mail at the house. And I was like, you should probably change your mail over. She's like, yeah, I'll do that. I'm going to go to the post office and stuff. And I was like, cool, sounds good.
Here? Or was she going to go
I think
there?
she was going to go in Stanley, because she said walk. So,
right.
So I was like, okay. And I went to go do my laundry, so I went to Racy's. Oh, I dropped my laundry off, came back to Racy's. And I figured, I was going to run for a little bit. And then I noticed her coming in, and I was like, okay. Because she had never said anything about coming to Eau Claire, which was weird, because usually she would communicate stuff like that. She was like coming around. And she just had this, like, angry, pissed off look about it. I was like, okay, what? Didn't know what had happened. I didn't know she'd also been pulled over or something like the night prior, or 2 nights prior, Joe had said. So, like, she wasn't even supposed to be driving. He had taken the keys from her.
So you were surprised.
I didn't know about the keys
She
thing, but I
didn't
was
say she
surprised.
was coming to town.
No, because, like, I knew she had barely any funds left. She had just started, working at the school, but she was also, she was working at the school, but she had gotten her TB test. Like, they had done the TB test, and she was going to, like, get it read the next day. So she could start working, like, as a CNA again or something. And I had mentioned to her, like, yeah, if you need scrubs and stuff to borrow, like, that's cool, I can give you scrubs. Because, like, it's hard to grab, like, people that start off doing it don't have, like, $80 to spend on a set of scrubs. Mm-hmm. So,
absolutely.
Once we had chit-chatted a little bit, like, she looked pissed and was like, hey, if you want to pick those scrubs up and, like, get something to eat after, like, that'd be cool, because, like, congratulations, like, I'm glad you're getting stuff together, like.
And that conversation took place over the phone, or?
That was at Racy's.
At Racy's?
Yeah. Because, like, she went with Maxwell to drop off art.
Uh-huh.
So, like, she traded him a painting that used to be in her bedroom for some paintings to get done. Okay. And then she had come back. Apparently she had come back when I had already been gone to go get my laundry.
Okay. And you talked the first time she was in there, or
when she was first going?
McCandless began to act oddly by this point, upset over the direction her relationship with Menge had taken.
Yeah, when she was coming in and then leaving.
Okay. You talked inside or outside, or?
Outside, I believe.
Outside. Okay. In the earlier conversation where she talked about going to the post office and stuff, was that over Instagram or was that over the phone? Do you remember? That's a long time ago, so.
Probably, I think it was Instagram. I don't think we were using Messenger anymore, so I think it was Instagram.
Okay.
She kept like blocking and unblocking, blocking and unblocking, and getting pissed about it. I was like, whatever, it's your prerogative.
Did you guys have many actual phone conversations, or were they all pretty much messages through some sort of media?
Once in a while she'd call, but like not a whole lot. Like in general in the relationship, or
after
all this stuff.
After all this stuff happened, and she was kind of living in Stanley.
Once in a while, I think she called me maybe. I would say it would be less than 15, but more than 5.
Okay. So to your understanding, she was, when you would have been messaging her, she was still in Stanley that morning?
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
Okay. And the only way she could contact you was with Wi-Fi, correct?
Yeah, she didn't have a phone plan. I think she just had like it was like an iPad or iPod Touch, something like for like music, but she used it as like a social media device.
Okay.
I don't think it was an actual cell phone.
Okay. And I guess I'm not sure, City of Eau Claire, they don't have public Wi-Fi throughout any area.
No. I mean, some of the parks do, but it's kind of spotty.
Okay, so you'd have to be at a business or at her house.
You have to be like a residence or like, something that you knew the Wi-Fi for. Like Gracie's, a friend's house. Like Julia lived in, I think Julia lived in those dorms by Phoenix Park, kind of. Okay. The new high-rise ones by
right off of
the Confluence area.
Yeah. Okay.
When do you think you wrote "The Life Starts Now" on there? Was that the day of?
Without a cell phone, tracking McCandless's movements becomes more difficult.
Or did you write it and take a picture of it? Because we can tell by when you took the picture if you remember when you wrote it in relation to taking the picture.
I can't really recall. I know I took the pictures. Could have been the same day. I don't know. I wrote over the top of it, but I can't remember when.
It's kind of the flow on the 22nd of March. She says, and maybe I'll just read this to kind of see if it jogs your memory. I thought about it a lot, and I think I'll call Winter Shift to return the tattoo gift so I can for sure pay for therapy.
Yep.
Okay. Well, do you know where she's going for therapy?
She was going somewhere in Stanley.
Right in.
I believe her family had got her set up with a therapist or something over there.
Okay.
Because it was within biking. I think she mentioned once it was biking distance. Or maybe that was her work.
She went anywhere around here after she made contact to report with crisis and the investigators when she reported the Hansen assault?
I gave her a bunch of numbers, because the military has one of those phone numbers you can call that gives you local, but a lot of them were only 1 or 2 sessions they would do, and then they were paid afterwards. But there was, I can't remember if it was Bolton, the fellow from Bolton gave me some options too, or gave her some options too on that stuff, and I don't know if she ever partook of any of those.
Bolton might have did some initial screening.
Yeah, because she met with the big, he looks dangerous, but he's a teddy bear.
Okay.
I can't think of his name.
From
the Bolton Refuge House.
Bolton, okay.
Because she didn't feel like she could go anywhere at some point, because her mom and family didn't want her. Jimmy and them didn't want her, or not Jimmy, Joe and them didn't really want her. I didn't want her by me. I think her initial plan, it seemed was she just going to move in with Alex for a bit? Was she going to try to move in with John? Was she going to try to move in with Bree? I think it was Bree for a little bit. She talked about moving with Bree. It's I don't know if she knows what she's doing. Because 90% of the time she had these aspirations for stuff. It's even now, she was sending me letters for so long, and it's oh, can't wait to hang out and do it. It's I don't think you're in the same place as us half the time, man. Like, a lot of these ideas and these things that you're going through in your head don't correlate with reality, you know? Mm-hmm. And my roommate Alex always had a problem with her because he'd be like, some of her stories don't make sense, man. It's like, think about the amount of life she just had. And then think about putting all this stuff into it, these stories that she's had. It's like, when was she doing this, when was she doing that? I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I've never, like, tried to run the numbers. She's like, well, why don't you try to run the numbers, man? Because it's a lot of, like, when did school start? When did this happen? Because, like, you know, I started becoming friends with her friend Hagen, one of her ex-boyfriends, Hagen. Okay. And I was like, did you guys, like, live together for a while and stuff? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, but, like, how does this all fit in together? Because mathematically, a lot of the stories, like, they just don't sew up straight.
Is that the friend that the brother possibly sexually assaulted her?
But then there was also, like, the fact that she talked with him afterwards, too. Like, okay. They seemed familiar after that. And it's like, is this just, like, a victim thing? Like, because I know there was a neighbor or something when she was young, a family member of it when she was young, possibly one of Joe's neighbors, like, that still lives across from him, a teacher at her high school who had a kid and wife that apparently moved away after whatever had happened. Just all these things. And I was like, I talked to her for so long ago, like, you should probably go in and get some of this stuff. Like, you should talk to somebody about this because it's not just shaving your head and pretending like you're a guy for like a couple of years is not going to fix the kind of trauma that's going on in your head right now. Like, you've got issues trusting people. Like, she would go up and down and come to like emotional situations. It's like,
McCandless may have experienced trauma during her childhood, although it has never been verified. However, much of her pattern of behavior suggests she used such accusations to manipulate others and benefit herself.
You know, there were times where she would make me just get in the car with her and she'd just drive crying. And, like, there was a graveyard out somewhere by Stanley. Apparently someone who's super important to her, some woman, I can't think of her name, but she died younger. I don't know if she helped raise her or something. But she would just go out there and, like, just sit by the grave and cry sometimes. It'd be like, if she would have been around, like, she would have helped me get my life back together. You know, like, my family just sees me as a burden. Like, my mom sees me more as, like, a friend than a child. You know, and it's like, well, you do ostracize a lot of people, man. You push people away a lot because you have this coping mechanism of just running from problems. You just run from a problem, and then you expect someone, like, in your family to save you when they start to feel scared, like that you might be teetering, you know.
Okay. What did you mean? This is a message that you sent. Is that you, the Doc Wolf?
That's me.
Please tell me you didn't risk the only place to take you in without communicating your intentions. Is that
was me?
Joe Shane took you in,
yes.
Or
so? Like, that was after I talked to Joe. I think I talked to Julia, Joe, and Rosie. Rosie's her mom, right? Rosaline Anderson. That's her first name. I'm trying to push a lot of this situation out of my mind, like the people.
And I wasn't tied into a lot of that stuff, so I'm trying to pull it up and think.
This is after I had talked to Joe outside the cop, so I was still at Racey's, I think. And he had said, she's not even supposed to have the keys. I took the keys from her. What is she doing in Eau Claire? And I was like, I don't know. She was supposed to get the kids off the bus. And I was like, oh, shit. So then I messaged her, hoping she would be on Wi-Fi somewhere. So I was like, well, she's bumming around the city. She might be on Wi-Fi. And I was like, he was already, like, threatening to kick her out because she had brought a cat. She had done all this stuff. She was ignoring. She was just not being very, for the amount of leeway she was being given in the situation, like being, you know, just hi, I need a place to live again. All of a sudden, can you help me find a job? Can you help me with finances? Like, I'm like, you're being kind of inappropriate about this. Like, her mom was like, you can't live here anymore. You're not living here anymore. It's done. Figure it out. So she showed up at Joe's and Joe took her in. And I think it was mostly a guilt thing because, like, he had never really been around her after the divorce and all that kind of stuff. Like, he was always there, but not really. Mm-hmm. So I think he took her in to help her out, like, and because her grandmother, you know, Terry, they needed help with Terry because Terry was in the process of passing away and stuff. But
what was the second half of that, though, without communicating your intentions? Does that mean to you?
Intentions of driving to town because she was she was risking the place she was living without telling Joe, hey, I'm going to town to do, and I thought the intention was that she was coming to town to maybe to talk to Alex about the letters, because she had been fired out the day before about those journals she had been doing, and she had mentioned, those journals, like,
she got fired up, what do you mean?
Well, she was just like, I need to drop these off with these people, and I was like...
McCandless was in the habit of keeping journals and even wanted to give some of them to Menge, since they contained her regrets for having cheated on him.
I would just send it to him in an email or something.
What people?
Like John and Alex. So like they need to know that what it has done to me and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but like you don't have to do person to person stuff. You can just send it in an email. You can send it in a letter over snail mail. You can you could, I guess, drop it off at a mailbox in their mailbox, but like a stamp is like 32 cents, man. Like, come on. You don't have to go there and physically. And she said, like, I feel like I don't have a voice anymore. She kept saying stuff like that. Like, I feel like my voice has been taken. And I was like, well, you've done all this therapy work, and like your therapist is helping you, and you're journaling this stuff out, and it's making you feel better. You say so. Just keep doing that. Like, they already know what they've done to you if they've done this. Like, you don't have to tell them what they've done. They've already known this.
So what you mean there is that, she's risking her place with Joe Shane by just driving without telling him, hey, I'm going to Eau Claire to whatever.
Yeah, because he's being super understanding. He's like I'm like, where is she going to go after this?
So you must have talked to Joe at some point, because you would then, a bit later here, actually just before, I'm so lost right now, I didn't know he took your keys. I didn't know you were coming to Eau Claire. This situation does not look good. Why did you feel that it doesn't look good? What was your...
Because she's going to get kicked out again. Okay. Like, she's going to be on the street, and I thought maybe she's doing this whole thing so her family kicks her out, and she can just, oh, Jason, can you help me out, or can somebody else save me again? It's like, this is not going to happen, because, like, it's not going to be, we're going to go back to, like, feeling sorry for Ezra. Ezra's in Ezra's situations because of Ezra,
I just know what I saw in your eyes and have a bad feeling. What was your feeling?
That she was going to go visit John or somebody, and like, I thought she was going to go visit John or Alex and just like be like, hey, this is like, drop off the stuff. You guys fucking did this to me, blah blah blah. And like, I wasn't sure if the way, because like the last time with the Alex stuff, I was like, I was worried more for them and like them also, because John was emotionally fragile. I mean, he had gone through all that stuff, and even though I don't like these guys for what they did, like one of the last things me and Alex had talked about at his house was, I was young like you guys too, man. I made stupid decisions. It doesn't mean I have to like you guys, but I still fucking care about you. You're people.
And back when we talked before, you talked about this look in her eyes, and I don't remember how you described it. Do you remember what that look was in her eyes?
Just pissed. She just like pissed off. And I was super confused because she didn't look as fired up the last time we had talked about all this stuff. And I was like, what about today has made this thing worse?
Okay.
Because she seemed so like when we talked in the morning before all that, before I went to do laundry, she seemed nonchalant. Like it just seemed like another day.
Okay. Had you seen that look in her eyes before?
McCandless blamed Woodworth for Menge choosing to break up with her, and may have been planning to harm him before the day she chose to confront him at his house.
Like when she would be like, get in the car, we're going for a drive, like,
okay.
And then we just go out to like I said, like the graveyard, or we just drive to like anywhere, and you just like usually just need space to like just rant and rave for a while and scream into the wind and just be like, are you done now? Are you good? You feeling better?
And I think before when we talked, you talked about she would get so emotional. Sometimes her driving was not good, and you had to take over.
I would take over a lot of times, and I'd be like, I don't know where we're going, but like.
Okay. Did you guys ever drive out into Dunn County before, or towards Menominee area?
Oh yeah. Like, when would it be? I'm not sure how many times. It was at least 3 times, but like previously. Maybe a month before that or so. Like we went to like Hoffman Hills once in a while.
Oh.
That's nice.
Do you remember how you got there?
Like, route-wise? Yeah. She didn't use GPS.
Oh, okay.
I think I put my GPS on at the gas station when you're leaving town towards Menominee.
And this one with the quickest route that...
I did know that we took the route where you passed the little Hobbit house. So you pass, just like on the right-hand side of the road, there's like a house that's half in the ground, and it has like a Hobbit front door. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Right on Highway 12?
Yeah, it's like on the right-hand side of the road.
If you're coming to Menominee?
If you're leaving Eau Claire, I think it's on the right-hand side.
Closer to Eau Claire then?
It's closer to Eau Claire. There's like cornfields and stuff, but there's this little tiny house that's like, it's all covered in dirt.
Yeah, I think that's, well, I don't know. What came to my mind as soon as you said so, it's north side of Highway 12 there.
Yeah, we
near E.
Yeah. Because we would take that way. You keep going straight, you eventually end up at a church, and you take like a left at the church, and you go around some other windy roads.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure we're talking the same area. I wonder if there'd be a street view of that on Google, so we can kind of confirm that.
You want to dig on that while I look at my notes here?
The little Hobbit house?
Yeah.
It's a cool house.
If there's a street view on there, that would kind of confirm that we're talking the same area.
Let me go back to this one here. There's something on here I was trying to sort out. I'm just wondering what the 919 was significant for.
Oh, that's when the thing was 919. Life starts now. Yep.
What do you mean?
That was the thing that her father had said. So like, I don't know how much they do. I'm not even sure if I'm even logged into any of this stuff anymore. Oh yeah, we did bring her Wi-Fi.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I really did that. So what's that supposed to mean though, 919?
That was like here, this will log in. Oh, I don't have any internet in here. Oh, Jesus. No, I don't have any. So like, remember I talked earlier about how like her dad had that long conversation with her about like, this isn't going to define you as a person. You can always change. Like, you got to turn stuff around. Like, I'm giving you a chance. You have to be responsible. Like, she pretty much sent me like the whole conversation, like, or like a abridged version of the conversation.
What'd you send it through?
Like through the Snapchat thing.
Okay.
But that was like the time, I think. I'm like almost 100% sure that's the time that.
But that's the actual text portion. So you would have written that. Because the text is the text, what's actually put in there.
That's the time?
No, the actual time that the message went was right here. So the text is the actual text you typed in. That's what I mean, so I'm just trying to understand. You think that's the actual time?
Let me check one more source, because I think I can still see.
I don't know that it's that significant, I just wondered what it was.
I think I can see my archived stories, but maybe not. I think that's the 919 life starts now. But maybe I wrote it down.
See, here she messages you. Right here.
Although there is no evidence to suggest that Menge helped McCandless to kill Woodworth, or even knew that she intended to do so, the information on his phone will help not only eliminate him as a suspect, but to see if they can find any subtle indication of McCandless's state of mind.
So, the author, Dirt Fiend, that's Ezra, right?
Yep.
And then you're on there as a recipient. So she sent Life Starts Now. That was on the 22nd. Actually, it'd be our time, it'd be on the 21st. You know, evening time.
Okay.
Do you remember when she sent you this snap or whatever she sent you related to her conversation with Joe?
With her father?
Yeah.
No, I was trying to look it up, but like...
It had been preceding this whole event, quite a bit. I mean, a few hours.
I think it was days. It might have been a day or a day.
Okay.
Because...
That makes sense then.
Yeah, she had the conversation. That's why I was so concerned. Was like she had this... She made it almost sound like a life-changing conversation with her father, her stepfather. Because adoptive father. Because he was putting a lot of shit on the line. Because his family already didn't want to keep doing this coddling thing with her. They were worried that she was just, going to continue this cycle of creating a problem, needing to be rescued, creating a problem, needing to be rescued, instead of just, she was supposed to go to school, and for the longest time I thought that she got kicked out for something minor, and it's like, it sounds like she just spent all of her money that she needed on other stuff, and she couldn't afford to go to school, so then her family's like, well, we're not going to keep giving you money because you're not maintaining a good grade, but so then she came back and she had to work and stuff, and it was like, well, you can't just keep expecting people to foot the bill for you on these things. Oh, that's the thing there.
Do you remember this letter then?
Yep, she gave that to Jenna. Or no, Jenna wrote this, and then I think I left this in the car the 2 days before we had talked. I had written a timeline on the back of it of kind of the stuff that had happened, and I was like, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense.
Who is Jenna, first off?
That's my roommate's girlfriend, Jenna Van de Zand.
Jenna Van de Zand?
Yep.
V-A-N. Do you have her phone number too?
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, she was there when we were just leaving, talking to Alex. You didn't talk to her then, right?
No. Jenna's number is...
Van de Zand?
Yeah.
So what were you trying to all put together, you said, after reading this?
I'm trying to get the spelling for that if you want.
Sure.
Wherever she is, she's in her roommate chat. Oh. V-A-N-D-E, and space Z-A-N-D-E.
Okay. So what was this all about? How did she come into the picture?
So that night before, I had gone out drinking with some friends, and
Night before?
well, this night before this was written, because this was written and left next to me laying on the couch, because I was on the couch sleeping, so I passed out. I was just like, I'm so sick of all this drama. I'm trying to step away from it. There's this person's raping me, this stuff's happening, this is happening, none of these stories aren't making sense. So-and-so's this, so-and-so's that. It's like, I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I was like, I don't want to deal with it anymore. I don't want to deal with any of the drama, because I feel like everyone's lying to me, and I'm so sick of it. I just feel like I'm in the middle of all this stuff, and I don't know what to trust or who to trust anymore. I just don't want to deal with it. So she tried to talk with me, and I hung up on her. I was like, I'm done talking. I'm going to bed. I'm drunk. I'm going to bed. And so she called Jenna, and Jenna went for a walk, I think, and talked with Ezra. And she left me this note because she was going to wake me up to answer the phone, and now it's just you're not waking him up. He's passed out. Just leave him be. He's stressed out. So she left this note. Yeah.
And then just a minute ago you said something that you drew something else? Or?
Yep, on the back of it. I was, after the conversation with Jenna, that's when I started thinking okay, I'm going to try to bust out a timeline for all this stuff.
McCandless wasn't going to give up on the relationship. Menge was a steady and reliable figure in her life, and she wasn't able to accept that her actions were the cause of the breakup.
Because I want, if I can write down the timeline for this stuff, for what logically makes sense, for what I've seen on paper or in these situations, and I show this to Ezra, it's going to be what the hell happened? Like, what the hell was going on? Because, like, at that point, I was starting to question a lot of things. Like, I was questioning, you know, the aborted child back in October, like, around her birthday. We went to the cities and she had an abortion. It was like, is this my kid? Was this a thing? Like, what is going on in this convoluted...
Do you know if it was?
No idea. Nobody, like, it's like, who knows what was going on? Like, because all this stuff, it's like...
I mean, it could have been.
It could have been.
You two were getting together.
Yeah. Oh, we were still, like, together back then, but, like, I mean, I was also gone in the Redwoods for a while, so it was like, I was gone most, you know, a good section of November with Josh Trinkler, like, hiking the Redwoods, so...
So, what do you mean by some of this stuff?
So these are, like, times and dates and stuff. So it'd be like, I was like, okay. See if I can figure out any of this.
You just did this in your own apartment and...
Yeah. Let's go back a couple months then.
So this February 4th and 5th, is that significant to what you're just showing us?
Yep. Oh, wait. February 4th and 5th. February 4th and 5th, that was like those 2 dates. So assault 1 and assault 2 while I was at recertification.
So that's just what we talked about a bit ago.
Yeah.
What are these times? How do they play into it?
I think those are probably times. I'd say 8:46 maybe.
Okay.
8:39. Like maybe that could be something to do with the time.
How would you have arrived at? That's pretty specific. 3:39 and.
I think I went through photos. So like she had sent me photos the night before of her, John, and Ryan all drinking and hanging out together. And I think I was trying to figure out the timeline of like, okay, when did this happen at his apartment? And then you were back at our apartment, and then this happened. So I was trying to like figure out what was going on. Like,
so you remember what the 909 over 928 is?
Is that the February 4th?
Or what's the 6th and Alex? Was the 6th of February she was with Alex?
6th of February. Oh. 6th was when I flew out to Denver with Josh.
6th of February?
Yep.
Is that significant?
Or no, 6th of November.
Okay.
So 6th of November, I flew out with Alex, or flew out to Denver, to Denver with Josh, and she said that that's the night that he had taken advantage of her.
Alex had?
Because she said that they watched this movie called The Little Prince.
Is that what you mean there then? By that date?
I'm assuming that's what it is. And then the 7th would be getting dumped. Because I'm pretty sure that was...
November 6th and November 7th?
No, the dumping would be this February 7th, I think. Yep, the 7th of February.
Dumped by Alex?
No, dumped by Ezra, pretty much. She's like, she messaged me like, I'm moving out.
So you got dumped?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, you're moving out? And she just said, I just can't be with you anymore. You deserve better. I can't tell you why, but I just can't be in that house anymore. I was like, oh, okay, that's insane. I'm just only doing Army training and trying to relax as much as possible, but thanks for sending this in a message.
McCandless did not want the relationship to end, but she could tell Mendel was struggling with her lies. To distract him and hopefully gain sympathy, she used a manipulative tactic to appear as if she was making a sacrifice for him.
So what month was this when she was with Alex?
That was...
when you went
November.
Okay, November 6th.
Yep, so like the same day.
And you flew to Colorado?
Yeah,
Denver?
I was in Denver and then I went to California.
So that's how you remember that she's with Alex in November.
Mm-hmm. That's why I was like, well, this stuff happened in November. She had an abortion in October, on October 6th, like right around her birthday. So I was like, we got to talk about some of this stuff because, like, I lost my mind over this thing. Like, you know, like, I was torn up inside. Like, 'cause as soon as we were at the clinic, because I thought she had mononucleosis or something. She was, like, puking every day, fever, like, just, like, not doing well. I was like, you need to go in. I don't have health insurance. You need to go in. Like, we can't keep trying to take care of this at home because there's something definitely wrong with you. Mm-hmm. And I had had mono before, so they had told me, like, I'm like one of these weird carriers where, like, I have mono in my blood sometimes. Okay. It still, like, exists in my blood, so I get symptoms once in a while, but I don't actually have it in my olfactory glands. Yep. So I get to experience mono for the rest of my life, which is great, because, like, sometimes I just, like, out of the blue, I just get debilitated for, like, a week or two. So I was like, I don't know if that's, like, something that could happen. Like, maybe somehow there was a transfer of it somehow, because, like, you're exhibiting the same signs as I had when I had mono. And we took her in. Or I took her in, and then within like a couple minutes, they're like, "Oh, you know, she's pregnant." And I was like, "Oh," and I was kind of like, "Oh, all right." Like, what do you? And then she's like, "Can I get paperwork on it, like where I can go to abort this?" And I was just like, "Oh, okay. Well, never mind." So we never even.
Do you remember where she went?
For the abortion?
Yeah.
Somewhere in the cities.
Any idea where?
No idea. I mean, I was there with her, but she didn't want me, like, I was there for a while, but then she told me, I thought she would want me in the room or something, but she's like, no, I can go in.
We can come back to that. I kind of sidetracked us from that, so.
Do you remember what the A is or what any of this stuff is in here?
Match 14. Oh, 14 matches up with any dates, doesn't it? Or maybe we can just put something in here. I still have, like, 14 some there. No, I'm not seeing anything on the 14.
Okay. So what's the significance of any of the other doodling?
No idea. I was probably just in a manic mode trying to figure out, like, am I being messed with here by everyone?
Yep.
Because I did do this. This is that's the Little Prince night. That's the assault 1 and 2, and then that was the baby. So like,
what's the Little Prince?
That's the movie that they watched. So like when that private investigator had come to visit me, I was already like, I'm so sick of hashing all this stuff out, having to relook at my phone all the time, so I kind of just wrote some of the stuff down because people have been asking me over and over again.
Menge was slowly trying to unravel the web of lies he had been given and was starting to suspect that the child wasn't his, or at the very least, there was the possibility that it wasn't. If that happened, McCandless knew there would be little chance of talking him into renewing their relationship.
So that's the night she said that she had gone over and just hung out with Alex, and they watched this movie, The Little Prince, which is like a literary expression of suicide. It's like a relationship between an unintended small child in a new neighborhood with an adult neighbor, which is like apparently an art film. I don't know. It's like a really fetishy kind of thing.
Okay. So what really went down on the 7th then?
Nobody knows. Like she said that he kissed her or something, and she said, "No, I have a boyfriend," or whatever. But so that was like the Little Prince night. That was like the day after I was gone. I think that's the day after I was gone on my trip. I think I flew out the 6th.
Okay. December.
Yeah. So I was like, this is really weirdly convenient that it always seems like a day or so after I'm gone, something is happening, and then you're like creating this. Oh, it was a bad thing. Like this bad thing happened. It's like I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. And that was like my rundown for this. They did look good. Yeah. Those are like people of interest.
That timeline and stuff, when did you give that to her?
I think it was when we were in the car talking, like, because I showed her the note that Jenna had, and I was like, she doesn't want to be involved, you know, and I showed her, like, the back, and I was like, what is going on with this? Like, what is going on? And I remember seeing it in the car the day that I had gone to Alex and heard she was there with her car parked there, because her car, like, it had this Pearl Jam CD that when she had been, she had hit a buggy or something when she was younger. Like, I'm not sure what happened, but ever since then that track like skipped. So I was sitting across the park bench, like, waiting for her to come up, so I figured, like, okay, this is really long for her to be inside this building, like, I'm not getting a good feeling. And I eventually went up and, like, knocked on the door and stuff, but I had turned the car off because it was just sitting there idling. So I turned the car off because, like, the CD was skipping, and I definitely remember seeing it, like, in the vehicle, like on the passenger seat or something, I don't know.
So when did you give that to her? Because you had made that map, right?
Yes,
or
I made, like, the convoluted, like,
timeline.
nonsensical.
Yeah. When did you give that to her?
It might have been, I don't know. Oh. Is there...
Was it the day this all happened?
I don't think it was the day this all happened. It was definitely before that.
Maybe I can help with this a little bit.
Because Jenna, it was the day that she had been that Jenna, it's the same day where Jenna was not going to wake me up. So it was the night, the day after is probably when I was writing that stuff up, like trying to figure out, because I probably looked at the note and was like, okay, I understand, and then tried to figure out some convoluted, what is going on? What is the truth here? Okay.
Well, as I flow through Instagram here, there's virtually no messages on the 14th and 15th of March between you two. And it looks like she came to town then, during that period of time. Okay. So the day Alex, she went to Alex's was on the 22nd.
Yes.
So if we back up there from the 13th, the 14th and 15th of March, what was going on there? Were you guys at a motel like the Scottish Inn? There's some photos.
Yeah, we went to a motel for a couple of times.
Like you think just that week preceding?
It could have been any time in that week preceding. But I mean, no, not any time, because it had to have happened after the phone conversation with Jenna. Because Jenna wouldn't have written the note unless it was nearing the cusp, like the end of that whole, like, I'm so washing my hands of this whole situation.
Even though Menge had his suspicions, he made efforts to give McCandless the benefit of the doubt. If Pete didn't have friends pointing out the inconsistencies, McCandless may have gotten away with her infidelities without him noticing.
Because here I'm defending someone who I'm worried has been assaulted. Everyone's telling me, like, John, that's not his character, he wouldn't, but he's also maybe capable of it, like, because his ex was like, he might be capable of it. Some of his friends were like, he might be capable of it. But I'm like, I don't want to back anybody anymore. I just want to step away, because, like, everyone I seem to be getting involved in here is, they're just not telling me what's going on. Like, I feel like I'm trying to, like, protect some of my friends, but she's telling me one thing, he's telling me another thing, and everybody involved is just feeding me this stuff, and I'm just sick of it. I'm done. And that's like when I said, I'm done talking about it.
Well, she's communicating with you here. I'm leaving now to head over. That was on the 15th.
15th of November?
No, March. And then, are you not coming over a while later? And then there's just nothing.
Okay.
And then on the 16th, hope you made it back to Stanley safely. Sleep well, little lady. So she must have came over at that period of time. So I'm just wondering, if it was during that time that you showed her that.
It has to have been whenever that last conversation with Jenna was. I wish I had that written down somewhere, but.
Okay. No, it's difficult to recall, so
we're talking a year ago almost.
Well, it's just when that conversation happened,
Yeah.
So, how many different times was there that you guys stayed in a motel?
It's like 2 or 3. It was like.
And that was between when she said she couldn't stay at your apartment anymore.
Yes.
So February 7th, about when you
Yeah.
dumped. And
But
March 27th.
But then it was like, well, this is why we can't stay at the house. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, okay. And then it was like, my mom is treating me like this, and like she's like, I can't be at the house right now. Because like every time my mom's like, I'm super sad looking, and she's like, stop being so depressed all the time. And she's like, I'm depressed, Mom. Like I went through some stuff. And he's like, just get over it. Just get over it. And it's like, you can't just get over it. It's like, I mean, back then I was still under the assumption like, oh my God, she's been a victim, and like. The only person that's supposed to be taking care of her and, like, one of the people that's supposed to be taking care of her and like empathizing with her was just like, get over it. Like, just deal with trauma by getting over it. And I was like, okay, but also, I don't know. Because like, she had a habit of like embellishing a little bit. So I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Do you know which other hotels you would have stayed at?
There was only 2 or 3. I can't remember. The one, we stayed at the Scottish one.
Okay, Scottish.
Or Scott's, whatever inn. This one that's across from the Quick Trip.
Yeah.
It was always like last minute, like, that was the day that I think I called my brother-in-law and talked to him because I was like, stuff is not going well, man. Like, I'm pretty sure that my ex has just been, like, told me she was sexually assaulted. Like, I was freaking out. Like, I was like, I don't know, man. This is bad.
Okay.
I think that was that night. Yeah, there's like 3. There's one.
So the Scottish Inn, O'Leary's, and...
By O'Leary's, and then maybe one, where they built the new cancer place, the new cancer hospital by Sacred Heart. There's like a motel over there somewhere, like a Motel 6 or whatever. I don't know. It was mostly just like
straight across the street there, right by Walgreens.
I think it was that one.
Who'd pay for those? You would? Or?
Yeah. I mean, she didn't have any money.
So why would you go to a motel?
I figured she had there was a lot of times where she was like, well, I've got this stuff going on in town. And I was like, well, I don't want you at the house. Like, and Alex and us we don't want any more drama. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to get your life back together, that's cool. Like, just pay me back. And like, actually, one of those nights, I think it was at the one by the Walgreens, I was like involved in breaking up a domestic assault. And that was pretty weird. Because like a guy threw his girlfriend. So that's a good date to know exactly when that hotel was. Because a guy threw his girlfriend down I was stepping out in the alleyway, into the hallway to go outside and have a smoke. And I watched a guy throw his girlfriend down the stairs, and then she was trying to play it off like everything was fine, and like a bunch of people viewed it, so it was like, nah, because like he was pushing her and stuff, and I was like, no, we're gonna go talk to the concierge about this, and we're gonna deal with this, because like you can't just like be throwing people around. I mean,
was there a police report on that incident?
I think there was a touch of the girl at the front desk about it.
Okay. But the police never talked to you, so
no, nobody. I never was like interviewed, but because they were just gonna like leave. He did the thing, and then he like grabbed her and said they were gonna leave, and I was like, you can't just leave after you threw your girlfriend down. It wasn't like a huge flight of stairs, but like the stairs go from like there to like the floor, so you're going down like 9 steps.
Yep.
Like the hallway keeps going up. I was like,
Menge appears to be empathetic and compassionate. Often these types of people are taken advantage of, and that appears to be the case here.
Nah, like, you can't just do this, because you're going to get in the car with her. I don't know if I trust you right now.
Yeah, good call.
Did you ever get to talk to her when you went to the hospital?
No, I waited in the waiting room for a long time. That first day? Like after...
Yeah, when she was over at the hospital.
No, I got contacted by, I'm not sure who from Dunn, and they said that they found Monica Carlson. And I was like actually in the parking lot behind this police station talking to a cop trying to find out if they could find her vehicle, because I had talked to Joe about it. I was like, I don't know where she is in town, man, but I did pay because she gave me cash to pay for her tickets, because she had tickets before that. So I was like, I have her vehicle number on here somewhere, her license plate number on here somewhere. So if I talk to the cop shop was closed, it was past 5. So I was like, if I talk to him, maybe they can send someone, like if they see a crazy painted up car with this license plate number, can find out where she is, because they said they were going to go to a coffee shop and talk, and she's been AWOL for how long? And she also was supposed to pick up the kids. Like, none of this makes sense. Like, okay. So I was in the back of here talking to one of the officers.
And that day you went to the hospital, but you didn't get in to see her?
No, they wouldn't let me in. And I didn't find out until later on that it was like, well, all this stuff is going on. Because, I mean, I came to visit, I think the next day, and Rosie had given me, like, the room number, and, like, everyone kept telling me it didn't exist. I was, like, going from, like, kiosk to kiosk, like, help desk to help desk, and everyone's like, yeah, that's not a room number. It's like, oh, they can't let you in because it's, like, the psych ward. So, like, they don't really, like, unless you have consent. So I was like, oh, okay. So I could call her family. It's like, can I go talk to her? Is that cool? And they're like, yes, that's why we want this. They said they couldn't be there until later that day.
Okay.
And they wanted someone to be with her. Okay. So I went and visited her, and we hung out. We played Uno for a little while. Did an art jam, like doodles and photos and stuff.
Okay. Did you talk about what happened at all?
No, I mean, I didn't. I don't think I talked with her at all about what had happened the nights before. I just asked her how she was doing, like if she was all right, like.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't know much of any of that stuff at the point, because I was still like, it wasn't until a few days later where like the thought crossed my mind. Me and Alex were like eating hot beefs at Ray's, and I was like, where the fuck did he go, man? Like, if he's gotta have used money by now, like unless he had a bunch of cash on him or whatever, like how far can you get without using like your debit card or something?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, I don't know, dude. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, whenever a drunk kid falls into the river here, there's always like a missing persons thing like the next day. And he's like, yeah. I was like, I haven't seen shit on it. So it's just something doesn't smell right, man. And he's like, well, what if Alex never left? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, what if he's deceased, Jason? I was like, oh, Jesus. I was like, it wasn't even crossing my mind. I thought like maybe he fucked up. He did something, like he did assault her, and then he just ran. Like he went on the lam for a while. And then when me and Alex talked to him, I was like, oh, Jesus. Like that could be a possibility.
And when you're talking Alex, because there's so many Alexes
here.
Yeah,
no, my thing.
You're Alex and you guys were at Ray's
bar eating hot beefs.
Okay. When was that in relation to when you last saw it?
Probably the weekend after everyone had found out, because I had gone to Racy's, and I guess some people had already leaked the information, like some family had told some close friends before it was released in the news. So I think, family had told some of Alex's super close friends what had happened, because me and Bree even talked the night after Alex and me talked about it. It was on the weekend at some point.
Who's Bree?
The blue-haired girl, Larson. Yeah.
Okay.
The last time Menge saw Woodworth was when he followed McCandless to his house out of concern that something was going to happen. When the police arrived and questioned the three of them, they were satisfied that the situation was under control. And when they left, so did Menge.
We had talked, so I had talked to Alex, Zink. I had talked to Zink about it at Ray's after I had like a really weird reception at Racy's. Like I showed up at Racy's like I always did, went to order a cup of coffee, and like the two Wisnowski sisters, Ariel and Aubrey, like Ariel just like looked at me with these crazy eyes, and then Aubrey went in the bag and started puking in the trash. I was like, what is going on, guys? I'm like, can I get a cup of coffee? Is everything okay? She like put in a cup, and then she just walked back and she like got on the phone, just like talking to somebody on the phone, like on the work phone, like I don't know what to do. He's here. I was like, what is going on? I just took a to-go cup and I put it in. I left, and I was like, got home and I was like, Alex, stuff is not kosher at Race. He's like, something is going on. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't know. I got a really weird reception from the girls. Like I've walked them home a million times when they were drunk. Like we've been friends for like 6-7 years. I was like, something is going on. He's like, I'll go check it out. And then he left, and he came back not too long ago, or not too long after, and it was like, they found Alex, and I was like, all right, so where'd they find him? He's like, here in Wisconsin. I was like, oh, well, like they take him into jail and stuff, and he's like, they found his body, Jason. I was like, oh Jesus. He's like, yeah, he passed away. I was like, do they know how it happened? He's like, no. I was like, oh, okay, well shit, because like. It was like something I had already kind of started to process since our conversation at Ray's. Because it wasn't even in my peripheral vision up until then.
So, did she didn't want to report this John situation right away, or why did it take so long to finally get reported?
I have no idea.
It did take a while, right?
I think it's just like a habit she was in. Like
she didn't report it immediately.
Fuck, no. I mean, that's one of those things where it's like, I do see like, I know women that have been victimized, and they say like, immediately they want to go home, take a shower, and just like forget about it, and then like a week or so later, they finally get like the strength where like they want to go in, but by then any evidence is gone. So I was like, when I talked to some of my friends about this, like not using her as the reference, though, like being like, they said, yeah, it's a very common occurrence. Like, people don't usually go right to the hospital and report.
Yep.
And I was like, why would you not do that? If someone has done this to you, like, why would you not just go in right away? And she's like, well, like, I think it was Amy or one of the random girls that I was talking to about it. She's like, yeah, like, it's not, she showed me, like, a graph of, like, how many actual reported rapes there are as opposed to, like, how many of this and how many convictions actually end up. And it was just, like, this huge box of, like, all these people, like, unreported, reported, and then convicted. It was, like, one out of, like, all of these, like, 175. And I was like, Jesus. And she's like, yeah, that's why it's a problem.
How did you first come to know that Alex and John, or Ezra and John had been together?
Ezra and John? She had told me.
But right away she basically...
No, not like right away.
But when she told you, it was basically she was assaulted.
Yeah, like right away it was like, she had said that she didn't want to be in that house anymore, in that room anymore, because of the assault. And I was like, that's why I called him, like, immediately, like, after I found out about all this stuff. So it was like, I have one guy that I trust, and I have a person I'm supposed to trust, and I don't know heads from tails. And that's when I started running down some of the stuff she had said to him. Well, he was giving me, he kept changing his story every time I would add more details. And that's what made me start to wonder, like, well, is he lying then?
And that was the call that was made from
the hotel.
From the hotel.
Yeah.
And that was prior to any report to law enforcement, right?
Yeah.
So did she want to go report that, or did you?
I asked her.
Pretty much.
That was when we went on that car ride and we were driving for a little while. I was like, well, what are you going to do? Like, are we going to talk to the police about this? Or are you going to, like, what is your plan for this? And she eventually decided, I was like, I'm going to support you either way, but, like, if you don't report it, it's just, because, like, if you don't report it, how did I put it? Because, like, it puts people on the radar, at least, like, for possibility. Like, even if it is, like, you don't want to defamate somebody's character and ruin their life and all that kind of stuff, but also, like, if people start to see a consistent habit of this stuff happening and someone keeps popping up a couple times, it's like, well, maybe this is worth looking into. Like, if the same guy has a lot of accusations from people. I mean, then it could be like, you don't know. It's like, the accusations with all these senators and stuff all the time. You never know anymore.
Yeah.
Do you have any time reference as to when you patched Alex up?
There was a public argument at the coffee shop between Menge, Woodworth, and Hansen over the affairs. It was heated, but did not become physical. McCandless claimed that Hansen assaulted her, but would later admit that the relationship was consensual.
I just looked for that today. I tried to find it. I couldn't.
What's your best kind of estimate on that? It would have been after the John?
It was after I had gotten back. No, it was before that.
It was before this fifth.
It was before any of the bad stuff had happened.
So it had been before February?
It was after I came home from the Redwoods. So it was after November, but I'm guessing it was mid or late December. Because I assumed at the time that it was about, like, a seasonal depression thing. Like, the holidays and, like, the stuff he was going through. I had kind of hooked them up to hang out with each other and talk with each other about trauma, because she worked at where she was going to school before, Marionette or whatever, or Marinette. She was going there before, and she was like what's the word for it? The LGBTQ counselor for helping kids in school talk to their families about their sexual preferences, how they wanted to be identified, and all kinds of stuff. So Alex was going through all that stuff because he has this hyper-Christian family who doesn't know that he's either, I don't know if he was bisexual or he had done with girls before.
You're talking to Alex.
Yeah, not my Alex, right? Alex Woodworth. So we had talked about that before. We joked around all the time. I'd be like, "Oh, you're the sexiest of the Alex group," and we give each other shit. It was like, "Oh, the first Alex group, they all died from syphilitic infections. You got to control yourselves, Sean." It was like my Alex, him, and there was 3 or 4 more Alexes in our friends group. It was like, I can't let the beta Alexes die, man. You guys got to control yourselves. I know when you guys get in the room, you all look so good, but we had a good rapport for so long, and it was that's why I was so, I'm like, I'm going to be gone with Josh. Josh just got dumped. He went through some horrible shit. So we're going to go to Redwoods. We're going to go see a place on Earth where there's so much life He's going to smile. He's going to have a good time. And then we're going to come back and we're going to be better. It's like I had the abortion thing happen, so I was pretty downtrodden too. It's like we just need to go out there, free our minds a little bit, get back to nature, you know, see some like 1,000-plus-year-old trees. And so like, but she would get suicidal a lot of times. Like when I would go on to D&D and stuff on Mondays with Josh, she'd be like, you can't go because I feel like I'm going to kill myself or something. It's like, why are you going to kill yourself? She's like, I keep letting everybody down in this. And it's like, are you doing this because you don't want me to leave?
Threatening suicide to prevent a loved one from going to an activity they enjoy without you is a common abusive and manipulative tactic.
Like the house, is this like a power play? Like, is this like my one day to go do something away from you? Like, because we get stressed out sometimes. Or is this actually like a thing? She's like, yeah, I just don't trust myself right now. She's like, do you want me to call Julia? And a lot of times I get a hold of Julia, but like, she's like, oh, like, what? Can I report? Should I report you? Should I call this up? She's like, you know, someone did that to me once and I never forgave them and I wouldn't talk to them. It's like, yeah, but like, why are you saying this to me if I shouldn't be scared? Right. I'm about to, I ate a bunch of pizza before I came here. That's such a bad idea. But, I'm like, you can't do this to me. Because the medical and like the side of me that empathizes a lot with people, you can't just throw that at me and then make me feel like I'm just about to bike away and go relax and just go to a different world for a little while and play some nerd games. And you throw this at me to make me feel like I have to come and take care of you. Mm-hmm. And I was like, is this literally something that you're just going to keep doing every Monday? Like all of a sudden you just like, your life is spiraling out of control. Like the one time I get to like.
So can you kind of just tell us about how you came to know, had Alex cut himself of any significance?
Before that?
No, the time you did have to kind of.
Oh yeah, it was pretty deep.
Okay, but did you think he tried to kill himself?
That's the thing, is like I don't know, because like a lot of times I'm not sure if people are educated on the proper.
Well, there's some Instagram going back and forth. You commented that you didn't think he.
I don't think he was trying.
He was trying to because he didn't cut his arm the right way.
Yeah, because it was very deep, but it was this way, and I think it was maybe he was drunk and he didn't feel how deep he was going. But a lot of times it's like people will do that for show. They'll do the straight ones for show.
So he went this way.
He went this way.
He was looking down. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I can't remember if it was passenger or driver's side arm. But
how did you know about it?
Well, she had asked me to come over and take care of him.
He was over at Alex's house?
Yeah. And like his roommate Matt was still there, and we talked a little bit. We were very casual, and I was just like, and I kind of put it over the sink, and I irrigated it out, and I cleaned it all up, and put like one or two little things in there, and some like there's like this super glue stuff that you can use for like closing up a wound. It's like I can't remember what it's called, Dermabond. Mm-hmm. And he had just told everybody that it was like the steam wand burn from at work, because like the baristas, they had that wand that you heat the milk and stuff up with. So he had it wrapped, because I gave him some Curlex, and I gave him some tape to wrap with and keep it cleaned.
But why was he doing it?
She afterwards had said it was a either leave Jason or I'm going to kill myself thing.
Ezra said that?
Yeah, like at the moment she didn't tell me that day, but like later on, I mean, I kept telling her, because we sat upstairs and we gave him a big hug, we smoked some cigarettes like we always did, and I was like, dude, shut up.
Guilt over the affair with his friend's girlfriend may have also prompted Woodworth's actions.
You can't do this kind of shit, man. Like, you only get one shot at this, you know?
So, was she with you at that time?
She was with me. She was, like, sitting, like, next to me.
But, I mean, together you're a couple?
Oh, yeah, we were still a couple. Yeah.
Okay. And did he ever try it again? Did he ever communicate with you, hey, leave her alone?
Leave Ezra?
Yeah.
No, not really. I mean, we had one talk where I was just kind of like, God damn it, man. Like, I can't believe you did this to me. Like, what the fuck? It's like, I mean, I was gone. You're doing all this stuff behind my back, being all shady. I was like, I thought we were like family. Like, I came over to patch your damn ass up. Like, what the heck, man?
Why do you think he would have liked her? She's female.
Well, because the fact that she said that she said that she was his chance for like a normal life, pretty much. Like, he would never have to explain to his family that he was more into like younger boys, and she could be like his younger boy, but only came to collect all his belongings. They didn't bring his philosophy books with them. They didn't bring, you know, a lot of the things that actually made Alex Alex. You know, like how many conversations me and him had about, you know, Sartre and, you know, Kafka and all these people. Like, that was a huge part of his life. So it's like, even philosophy was like something they didn't believe in, like, according to their religious beliefs. And it's like, they didn't want to bury their son. They wanted to bury an idea of what they thought their son was, you know.
So did you have conversations about that? About his, I guess,
his preferences?
Well, his problems with the family and his preferences?
Oh, yeah, we would drink Greenville, or not Greenville, Berghoff once in a while, get really trashed. Like, after me and my ex had split up, me and him, he's a kind of a regular at the joints, like, be like, all right, let's split a picture, it's happy hour, like, because I know he would work in the mornings usually, or work at nights at Racey's, and or he was there the day that me and Ezra met, you know, like, we were hanging out at the bench. I came to lock up my bike by Terry's biking store. I got a flat on the way home from work. I pounded on the window because it was after midnight, and I was just like filled up a to-go cup. I stuck it out and was like, it's fucking closed, and I closed the door, and I was like, all right. And I sat down inside, and Ezra was laying on the benches stealing Wi-Fi. It's like, what was that sigh about? I was like, oh, it's just been a fucking rough day. But yeah, we talked till like 4 a.m. that night. He came out and like chatted with us. We all smoked cigarettes together. And, you know, like, we were always like good friends together. Like, I don't know.
Okay. What's this whole boy thing though?
The boy thing?
Yeah.
I don't know what. The like her being a boy or like him.
Well, you were at the court, right?
Yeah.
And you heard about what she.
Yeah, there was like the carving, right?
Right.
I don't know if it's to do with. I don't know. Did they ever figure out for sure if it was him or her who had done this?
After McCandless murdered Woodworth, she carved the word boy into her arm and claimed that he had done that while he was attacking her. Doctors later said that the injury indicated that it had been self-inflicted.
Like who had mutilated or whatever?
Well, she admitted to doing it.
She had carved it in. It was probably to do with like her being his boy. You know, like, because I mean, if I were to conjecture at anything, it'd have to be something to do with that.
Okay, so he cut himself, by all accounts, December-ish.
Yeah, sometime in December.
So
I tried to look for it.
Yeah, that's fine. So from December until March, what's going on between them two? Are they having rendezvous when you're not looking?
I think it's like, I'm gone for a drill weekend because Alex, like my Alex, I should just start calling him Zink. When Zink would be like, you'd be gone, dude? She'd be like in the shower and out the door. And I was like, how can you tell me this shit for a minute? He's like, well, I figured, you know, like she was just hanging out with friends doing photo shoots like she did sometimes, but also like sometimes she wouldn't come home. He's like, I texted her sometimes and asked what's up, and she'd be like, oh, I'm just hanging out with friends. And like sometimes she would like go over to John's and like babysit, because he has a son, Warren. Sometimes she'd babysit Warren so John could get, you know, a day off to do stuff. And I mean, we were all very friendly back then. Like, our friend group we felt pretty tight. Like, we trusted each other. I mean, at least that's what I thought was going on. We all trusted each other with each other.
So she's not working or anything during
No, she wasn't working.
So she's kind of needing a place to stay too.
Yeah. And I wasn't even sure if she was working when she was working sometimes. Because, like, she'd be like, oh, I gotta stay late, or I gotta do this, or I gotta do that. And it's like, I don't know why Joanne's is all of a sudden super busy and super not busy. Like, she's like, well, I was like, did you get fired? Because there was a point where it's like, did you get fired and you're just, like, not going to work? Like, or you're just going somewhere, like, hang out? Because I don't understand how you don't have $170. Like, we're splitting it 3 ways because, like, back then our rent was cheaper. It's like, $170 is so cheap. That is insanely cheap for rent.
Right.
Like, how can you not afford this? Especially since, like, we drink pretty much free coffee at the coffee shop. Because, like, most of the baristas, we just tip them. And they were like, oh, it's not a big deal. You guys are here every single day. Like, all right, cool. Okay. So, like, I don't know, dude. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life right now? Okay, you're gone to, like, questionable amounts of time.
Did she ever complain about any sex with Alex? About him getting
like there was complaints about like how did she put it? I don't know the terms for this stuff, but like where someone forcibly gags you during like oral fellatio, like they just won't let you. There's a name for that. I can't think of what it was. There's also
can't breathe, basically.
Yeah. Sodomizing, like she was not into like that kind of stuff, but I think maybe it was like more of a making it more more realistic, I guess, for his side of the to the Floyd thing.
Yeah.
So I was like,
so would it be primarily anal sex then?
I mean, I don't know. I wasn't completely privy to it because I was trying to, at the point, like, I was trying to be very sensitive approaching this because, like, not only being like an ex, but also like I'm not well versed in this kind of stuff. Like, I'm not, I know how to talk to some people about these like traumatic things, but like I'm not gonna like straight up ask someone to dump all their shit because I don't know how to respond to it or deal with it.
Mm-hmm. But
she made it sound like it was primarily, I don't know, from behind, whatever it was, and a lot of times I don't know which orifice, but.
Was she mad about that? Or not?
I don't know.
Was she enjoying it? Did it sound like?
I don't know, because like that was another one of those two-way things with Ezra. Like, sometimes she'd say, I mean, we never participated in that because I'm very like OCD as shit. I'm like, I'm not going to be involved in anything. I don't want to get.
Menge does not have much information about this subject, and as the ex, he probably didn't want to. Any information that he does possess also cannot be considered accurate, since neither of his sources could be considered trustworthy.
I'm just not involved in that. It's not my jam. So I was like, she always expressed like a dislike for that. So I was like, yeah, good. We're on the same page. Anything but stuff, anything but. But I don't know, like the way, because like Matt, the fellow that lived with Alex. He said that there were times where she was over, so after we had split up, we had split up for good, she would talk one way about me, and she'd be like, yeah, because I think that was the day that she had left me, which is confusing because, like, she was over at her parents' house, she had said, playing cards and stuff. Well, then I found out, like, just out of the photo, you can see, like, Alex, like, just his arm and his sleeve and stuff sometimes in some of those photos she sent me from her parents' house. And I was like, oh, so, like, she was at her parents' house with Alex. She introduced them and all this kind of stuff and whatever. Well, she must have went back to his house that night, and that's when she had messaged me the next morning, like, this stuff happened. Or however that worked out. There was a night where she was at his house, or at her parents' house with Alex. I'm not sure how it worked out. I used to have this more together back. I don't know anymore, dude. It's so much in my head.
Did she ever read you her journals, or did
she email those to me? Yeah, I think
you've seen them.
Yes, the silence broker or whatever.
Yeah. So what did you make of any of that?
I couldn't tell completely. It sounded like a lot of. It was painful stuff to read.
As you read through it, could you determine who she was talking about?
Yeah.
In each paragraph?
Not each paragraph.
Well,
like,
as you got back, so who's the love of my life?
Probably me, but I don't think it was. I think it was more pandering at that point. I mean,
she wanted you to read this? Is that what
I don't know. She said she did these for therapy, so maybe she was talking to her therapy. Maybe it was one of those, like, I didn't know what I had till I lost it situations where I was just like, well, I don't do do-overs, I don't redate people, man. Like, this is not something I want to continue doing. I don't want to continue like, taking care of you.
So these therapy journals were wrote with the therapist from Stanley then?
I believe so.
Okay. Are you aware of any other therapists that she went to?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Was there any therapy that got ordered for her before the abortion? I don't know if they do that to make sure that.
I think that they might consult. They might counsel you about that, but like I'm not sure if you have to have one.
Okay.
I know that the only thing that I remember, because I came back afterwards to pick her up and stuff, and I just remember them. Talking to her about, like, if she wanted to get the depot and all those kind of things, but I don't remember anything about counseling.
You got another one out of there?
Yeah, I just, you can go ahead, I got it.
I'm not trying to jump around here, but I'm trying to get some of the questions that I have answered, too, while he's looking through that. When you guys went to the doctor first and it was found that she was pregnant, and she asked for places she could get an abortion. Yeah. Was that one of the places that you went to then, or is that something she found separate to that?
I think she scheduled one, and she was just like, "Oh, this is great. It's like a day after my birthday. Happy birthday." You know?
But was that a number that was given to her by that clinic, or wherever you?
I think so. I believe it was.
Do you know where you went initially, to when she was?
Which clinic you went to?
Yeah, which doctor you went to that said you were pregnant? Was that the ER or?
It was the urgent care, which I think was Mayo.
Okay.
The Mayo urgent care down, so like right across from like where the Dunkin' Donuts or whatever is now.
There was a slim chance that McCandless spoke to someone at the clinic and admitted who fathered her child. And someone there might have noticed something about her mental state.
So like, there's Sacred Heart across the street, and if you come the other way, going towards like Bollinger Field, you take a left, there's that clinic there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, the Middleford campus.
Middleford, yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was there.
Did they give her a brochure or something that would have had that?
I'm not sure if it was a brochure or not. I think they gave her like care, like, you know, they give you the care packet for like things you have to do, like for if you were going to continue, but they also gave her like the whatever information about, you know, who to contact, and like I know she had talked to somebody on the phone that same day about it, and they said, well, it's not like, because she wanted to go that day, and it was like, they don't do stuff like that as like, once you find out, they make you wait like a minimum, I don't know how long, before they'll schedule anything, because what if you change your mind? Like right now, you might be freaking out, but like, you might change your mind. I don't know. It's up to you.
They don't make her have a counseling appointment or anything prior to?
I don't know if they did.
Okay.
I don't know if they did on the phone counseling.
Okay.
Because a lot of those places do make you do some kind of counseling before.
And I don't know, so that's why I'm asking. Well, we got Relee's looking through that yet. I pulled this up on Google Earth. Is that the house that you're talking about? It's not the best image. It's a street view, so it's... I don't know.
I think that's the one, yeah, right over here.
We can certainly slide up and down the road a little more to get a different view of it. The straight-on view, it's all blocked.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Okay. I don't remember there being that many bushes. There might not be all those bushes in front of it anymore.
I don't know when
I feel like you could see the house very vividly.
And if you get at certain angles to it, you can see it fairly well, but...
It's like one of those things, like, I remember whenever I go to the Hoffman Hills, so I like to climb that fire tower every once in a while and just see because you can see, like, so far, and it's all the colors in August and stuff. But
there's maybe a little better view of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay. The red door is, like, what sticks out, like, in my mind. Like, I think it was the one with the red...
Just so we can...
Did you two discuss these journals at all?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it. I said, I'm glad you're doing this. Like, this is probably good for you. Like, it's good to get this all out of your head. And, I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of, when you put all that stuff into paper, like, it's therapy, man. Like,
well, we know where we are now. You know, we kind of know what transpired. I guess, what are your thoughts reflecting back on that?
Reflecting back on?
Well, I mean, how did she get to the point where she drove away from you that day with Eau Claire PD standing by? And by all accounts, more than likely, based on what we know, drove right there.
Drove right? Oh, to that place?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like, I know that when I was at the house, so I sat across the road from that place for quite a while with my bike and just, like, smoked so many cigarettes. And then it took a lot for me to, like, go into the house, because I was, like, knocking on the door, and I think when I cracked the door open and they heard my ringtone going off, and I heard her yell, "Just let him help you," I was already at the point in my head where it's like, I'm probably doing something that could get me in trouble, but I fucking care about these people. And I thought, like, she hasn't left. My initial thought was, she hasn't left because he's going to kill himself, and, like, he's going to do it right in front of her, and I was freaking out, like, oh, God. She pushed him too far. They're both fucking fragile. They shouldn't be alone together. So I ran upstairs and, like, I was like, oh, my fucking God, you guys scared the shit out of me. Because they're both in this bedroom, like, sitting on the bed. And I'm just like, what the fuck? guys doing? You can't do this. Like, you should not, for what's going on and what you're writing and what has happened apparently in this relationship, you should not be alone together right now. Like, you guys both need to, like, go to a public place. You need to, like, talk things out. Because there was screaming and arguing when I was downstairs.
This was shortly before the police arrived. While Menge was waiting outside, neighbors became suspicious and called to report his behavior.
So,
did you know what they're saying?
I couldn't hear anything what they're saying, but there was arguing.
Could you tell both of them?
It sounded like, well, they both kind of had feminine voices, so.
Okay.
But, no, then I came outside and I was like, if you guys need me, I'm going to go back outside. Because, like, I'm like, do you guys want me to stay here? And they're like, no, you don't have to. I was like, okay, I'll go downstairs. I'm going to sit on the front, sit on the porch. You know, if she starts acting crazy, Alex, because he's got these stacks of books, like, everywhere. Like, you throw a book against the wall, he starts acting crazy, you throw a book against the wall, I'll hear it and I'll come back up. And I was only halfway through my first cigarette out there, and then the police showed up, and I gave them a statement about what had happened, and like another car showed up, and like another car showed up, and I kept giving the report, and they went to go talk with them, and that's when they were at the moment exiting the building. So then I think they split off and were questioned separately, and I talked to one of the cops about it, and I was like, so like, what's the plan? They're like, well, they decided they're going to go someplace public and talk, and I was like, sweet, all right, they're listening to reason, good. You know, and I was like, can you guys, like, can someone follow them? Like, and they're like, no, they're grown adults, they don't have to be followed. I was like, I just don't trust them very much. And they're like, well, it's not our job to go off, like, the hunches of you guys. I was like, I suppose, like, that's a bad waste of our resources. So, I was like, well, okay. And they all drove off. And me and Ezra and Alex all just talked for a little bit. I was like, you know what, you guys, because, like, I had given them a big hug. And we had smoked together, like, one last time. Which I didn't know it was the last time, but I was like, you know, you guys are still my friends. You know, like, on the battlefield, like, you have to treat the enemy and your soldiers. It doesn't matter, like, who, you know, that, it doesn't matter. Life is important. It's not so much that you guys fucked. If you're 24 and 26 or 21, like, you guys are young. Like, you have so many more mistakes to make, dude. It's gonna be fine. I don't like what you guys have done to me. You guys are making me crazy, but, like, still fucking people, man.
Did she ever get so upset at you for anything that she lashed out at you? Or
never physically.
Threatened you verbally or anything?
No, she never threatened me with anything. She usually just fall to her knees and, like, have an asthma attack, pretty much. Like, she'd just start hyperventilating. Like, the last time we got up to Hoffman Hills, we had hiked for a little while, and I was like, I just can't deal with all this lying and, like, all the stuff behind my back. I don't know what's going on. Like, what is going on? And she just broke down and, like, was on her knees crying and, like, hyperventilating. I was like, it's fine. You can tell me the truth. I don't care. I want to know how I can help you.
What were the pages of the Ted Bundy stuff on your phone?
Since both McCandless and Woodworth were calm and cooperative, the police had no reason to interfere further. As they told Menge, they can't act based on someone's feelings about the situation. In this case, unfortunately, Menge's feelings turned out to be correct.
Well, that was stuff that I had taken off of her phone. Because she had left her phone at the house once, so I pulled those up because she was talking. I think she was trying to, like, profile John. She was saying, like, oh, this is like John's profile. Like, he's a, you know, schizophrenic, or not schizophrenic, class, whatever, personality type. I don't know. She was trying to, like, profile him, saying, like, oh, this is, like treating it like it was evidence almost, like, oh, this is, like, what he's like, you know, this is what he's like. And I was like, he can be a little weird, like, he's got some stuff going on. He's got brain problems and stuff, so it's like, I mean, there's not all the screws in there, but I don't know if she was trying to, like, strengthen her argument for the raping thing, if it happened, or not, like, I don't know. I pulled that off of her phone, though.
So she hasn't been communicating much with you then, no?
She still calls once in a while. Like, I get a call from, like, Dunn County Jail, but, I mean, it's like you have to put money on the thing, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm trying to, like, get my life back, you know, like, people are finally talking to me again, like, and, like, not that these people are talking to me, but, like, people are actually, like, you doing okay? I was like, yeah, I'm all right. I've been through the ringer, but it's nice to, like, slowly start stepping away. And then it's like, the thing in the mail, it's like April 2nd to 27th. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. But as I figured, like, if she's changing pleas and stuff, I was like, well, there's probably going to be more investigation because...
What about that? What do you know about that? What's all going on?
Well, I mean, wasn't it initially self-defense? And, like, I was like, unless something... Because, like, you know, there's all these assaults that she claims in the past. And I was like... So at first I was like, when I heard about what had actually happened, I was almost okay in the courtroom up until the point when they said 16 times, and I pretty much, like, lost it. Like, I couldn't... Like, I was like, this doesn't make any sense, you know?
McCandless stabbed Woodworth 16 times in the head, neck, groin, and torso.
Because, like, that doesn't... To me, I was like, I don't understand. Like, and I thought, well, maybe it was with the horns, because, like, someone said, like, well, it was the deer horn, and it was this, and they were still, the detectives at the time were still unsure about a weapon. It was like, I guess if she took those horns out of the back, or with one of them, like, that could make a lot of punctures. And, like, she also doesn't know much about anatomy. It's like, if he wasn't attacking her, like, she's not going to know where to hit on a person. Like, I don't think she's ever put up a fight in her life, so I was like, if he was aggressing her and she had a chance to get a weapon away and fight back, I'm not sure she would know. I mean, most people don't know self-defense stuff, like, you know, so it's like...
Are you aware of anybody talking around here or races about Alex Woodworth attacking any other women?
I had heard he was kind of creepy sometimes, like, I don't know.
But that's one thing is, you know, what do you mean creepy versus actually physically maybe wanted to attack someone?
I don't know if there was any other attacks. I just know that he had strange relationships. Like, there was, like, a weird pseudo him and John thing. There was a weird pseudo, like, he was seeing, like, maybe a guy with a kid or a girl with a kid. But then she, like, completely cut things off and, like, wouldn't talk to him anymore, or, like, in public or anything, even, because we drank and talked about it once. It was like, it seems kind of weird that, like, someone, I mean, if you trust somebody enough to be intimate with them, like, why would you just all of a sudden, especially if you were getting to know their kid and stuff, it just seems to feel like it doesn't make any sense. But it made me think that maybe some of the stuff that he was interested in sexually was, like, something that people were not interested in. And, like, they were like, I'm done with the situation. Like,
So you're saying creepy potentially in a sexual way, but
like,
not to your knowledge and
not to my knowledge. Like, the way she made it sound like he wasn't really respecting of all the boundaries sometimes. Because, like, people can always say, like, at some point during consensual sex, it can immediately become unconsensual sex because they can be like, nope, this is done now. Yeah. And, like, a lot of times it's like, well, sometimes men take it, like, as an ego thing. They get all bent out of shape. It's like, well, now that you're happy, like, I can't be happy or something. It's like, no, that has nothing to do with it. Like, at some point, if the person, male, female, or whoever, is not wanting this to continue, they have every right to say this needs to stop. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why, like, you have to have good communication with people. So, I think maybe it's a situation.
Are you aware of any violence that they have?
Like physical violence?
Yeah.
I've never seen him get violent. Okay.
Are you aware of any time that he made somebody go further sexually than they wanted to? Or stop, physically made them go further?
I can't, like, be completely sure. Like, it's like unreliable narration, you know? Okay. Like, the way she made it sound like, was this for me or was this the truth, you know? Mm-hmm. That's why it's so hard to understand any of this stuff. It's like, I try to help out as much as I can, but I'm only fed this information from, like, besides the hard facts that I've seen, like, I've only been fed this information by, like, a person that I can't really trust, you know? Okay. App. I'm not sure if you guys. I wrote that. That was one of those things I wrote down where it was like a text now app. I think that was what she was using to, like, uses your phone over Wi-Fi to text. So it gives you, like, you add your email and whatnot to the thing. It gives you a generated phone number, and then that's your phone number that you can send messages as if it's a phone from Wi-Fi. So that's what she was using to.
How would you communicate with Alex Woodworth?
Messenger, once in a while. We didn't talk all that much, but I saw that at one point a lot of our stuff got deleted, and I was like, that's weird. Like, it was deleted from, like, his end, because, like, the last thing I remember talking about, like, painting D&D figures, I had painted this one guy, and it looked stupid because he looked like he was a naked man because I didn't get the coloring right. So like, it just looked like he had no pants and stuff on. I was like, I sent it to him. He was at the coffee shop. And we would talk about Lucas the Spider and like just stupid nonsensical memes and stuff. But
what time period did you feel that got deleted?
I don't know. I thought maybe it was after. I didn't really talk to him much after all the stuff had happened, besides in public. But I feel like maybe the family or somebody had gotten control of his account and was just getting rid of anybody involved in the situation or something. I don't know. Or maybe he deleted it. I don't know.
So getting to the what is this alleged assault between Alex and Ezra?
Yeah, I don't know what that means either.
Was there such a thing?
She made it sound like the night. She made it sound like the night where she watched the movie with him, The Little Prince or whatever night, that he had kissed her. Like they went on a walk and she kissed her and she said no. But then the night she said that like she was assaulted by John, is what she said. The first assault or whatever. She said that something had happened there where she had gone over to Alex's, and then what did it work? It happened that night, and then apparently again in the morning, and then she didn't have anywhere to go. She didn't want to be at the house. So I think she said she went to Alex's, and she was hanging out with Alex, and then he got extra handsy with her about I don't know, like later at night sometime. I don't know. But I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, she was going to him saying like, all this bad stuff happened, and he's just like, are you still down to like mess around or something? It's like, that seems like the most insensitive thing. It's like, well, I don't know if that's his personality type. Like, it was like,
that's like, is that reflective of what she wrote in the journal then?
Menge tried to help both McCandless and Woodworth, but he recognized that they were both unreliable sources. While he tried to ensure that both received some type of help or support, he was uncomfortable not knowing how much of what had been told was a lie.
I knew what had happened and went to my other friend for advice and concerns, voicing my anxiety and guilt towards our friendship, to only once again for it to turn to his desires of making me the boy.
And
that's kind of how it went.
That's the situation. Like the John thing.
Right after the John thing, she went to him.
For like, like to talk with him. Because like, hey, this just happened. You're like, what do I do? What do I do? And then, I ate all that pizza, Lily, man.
You should have waited when you ate with you.
Oh, okay. You don't want toppers, man. It goes out as fast as it comes in. I think it might just be.
I guess, is there anything else kind of we haven't even dwelled on, talked about, or anything that you're sitting here thinking, boy, you guys, you got to ask me this?
I can go through some of this if anything pops out to you. Find it.
Could I take a shot of that first thing you had with the movie night? Would I be able to just take a picture of that?
Oh, yeah.
So you said she's tried to call you from the jail. Have you accepted any of those phone calls?
I talked to her once or twice, but it just got to be too much for me. Because, like,
okay. How long has it been?
It's been months. Probably been a couple months. I was pretty. In the beginning, I wrote her a letter, but then, like, all these letters started flooding in. I was just like, I can't. Because I thought, well, maybe if I just, keep in contact with her, make her feel like, hey, you're still. I don't know. It wasn't like for her. It was more for me. Just be like, I fucking love the shit out of this person. And, like, I just want to make sure that or find out, like, if she's okay and she's doing okay, and if she's getting some help at least, because like this can't all be for nothing, But
have you ever went to the jail and
visited her once?
Okay, and that was initially early on, or
it was pretty early on still.
Okay,
but yeah, I dropped off a Vonnegut book for her to read.
What book?
Kurt Vonnegut book.
Guess I'm not familiar with those. What is that about?
He's just. I can't remember book about like artists and writers and stuff like that. And, I don't know, it was one of those books that we both read quite a bit. But
what do you recall? How do you come to know there's a change in plea?
I saw it on the internet. Well, actually, I think Jenna messaged me, and she's like, "Oh, she changed her plea," and I was like, "Huh?" And I researched it, like about it. Because I mean, I didn't really look into it all that much. Like, you only like updates every once in a great while, and I stopped going to the hearings because it was just too much, you know. I think after the one where I heard about the stabbing and all that stuff, it was like, I don't think I want to be here.
Did her family talk to you or reach out to you at all? Or
I've talked to Rosie every once in a while. Like, I tell them, like, I hope you're having good holidays. Like, I miss you guys sometimes. And, you know, she had, like, a little sister that was super cute to hang out with. But, once in a while, like, I'd never known how to approach any of this stuff that I, you know, to talk with them. Just, like, when she moved out, she took a lot of stuff. It was like, it's getting cold out, and, like, half my winter clothes she decided to steal. And it's like, oh, my God, there's never a comfortable time to have these conversations, you know? Because it makes it sound insensitive, like, hey, I hope you're having a good holidays. Also, can I get a bunch of my clothes back because I'm cold and I want to go buy a bunch more, you know?
Money's scarce, too.
Yeah.
Was there much discussion over why she changed her name or what was really going on there?
She liked the book Into the Wild. So it's, like, based off of the guy that goes off into the wild. But I'm not sure if Ezra was somebody important to her in her youth. Like, there's a person named Ezra that she really felt was important. But the McCandless part is based off of the kid that burns up his cards and, like, goes to Alaska.
Okay.
She always talked about wanting to go out to Slab City and, like, live on the slabs for a while and then travel around.
McCandless had experimented with her name and gender identification for years before making these choices.
I mean, it sounded like fun, because like, I have that same wanderlust all the time too, but I think it was more, you know.
Would she know how to get to Hoffman Hills herself?
I mean, she was pretty good at directions. I don't know.
What about driving into a muddy dirt road? You know, at that time of year where anybody who's driven any amount would look at that and be like, I might get in, but I might not get out.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of risk taker was she there? I mean, it's her car.
Yeah.
She's not paid for the toll or whatever to get it unstuck.
Well, did they ever figure out, because they said there was a driver that drove by and saw them, like, before they had gotten into there. Did they ever figure out if he knew who was, if the seat placement and stuff? Because she was tiny. Like, the seat would have had to be super far forward. Like, if she had been driving. But I mean, I guess she could have moved it too. I don't know.
Yeah, that account's just based on the witness, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, if you're in the passenger seat, what are you thinking?
Like, what are you doing?
That's where I'd be.
Yeah.
So,
and it's like, as soon as they got stuck, like, this is another thing, is like the phone was like disassembled and stuff, they said. It's like, I would, some of his friends said he was doing this like data thing where he's trying to data purge. Like, Alex was just like not using his phone very often. He's trying to take a break from the internet. And I was like, oh, that's expected. But like, because they said at first they made it sound like his cell phone wasn't on him. And I knew she had no way to call. So like, if she were to get stuck, she'd have no way to call. So that's what confused me about, like, so they get stuck in the woods. Like, why isn't the first thing, you know, done like a call to like, hey, we need to get back out of here? Because like, he has a phone still. You know, like, why was it like, was he in control of the vehicle and he's like, this is where we're going to go and we're going to have this conversation? Like, because he still wanted to be with her. He wanted to move to like Portland or whatever with her or something. And like, he was going to go get his master's and stuff. Like, we had talked a little bit. I was like, yeah, what the fuck is want to do? Like, go do your life, man. That's all. I don't have any animosity, you know, but I don't know if either of them were like I guess it depends on who was in that driver's seat was in control of the situation, the scenario, and whoever brought the knife or whatever it was, which was used. Like, I mean, did they bring it? Was it already in the vehicle? Like, because I mean, I was in the vehicle a couple of days before, and I don't know if I recall seeing one. There used to always be one in the center thing, and I don't know if there was one there before.
Well, you've conversed with both of them, okay?
Yeah.
And we're looking at this from the outside looking in, too.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to Alex. Alex don't go to her.
Yeah.
She blew into town. You didn't even know she was coming to town.
I didn't know she was coming.
And I can go through Instagram, and you guys are talking daily, multiple times a day.
Yeah.
McCandless was the one that instigated each interaction and didn't tell anyone she was coming prior to her arrival.
I mean, just like clockwork, I'm up, what are you doing? I mean, it's just going daily. But they aren't.
They're not talking at all?
I mean, we aren't seeing that kind of exchange. That's why I'm just perplexed. Why all of a sudden she goes there? And he, I mean, is this accurate? I mean, he ain't really seeking her out on a daily basis. She's in Stanley.
Yeah.
So is he just moving on too? His plan was to move in with this Samantha, right?
Samantha K?
Yeah.
I think initially they were all going to move in together.
Right, Ezra Menge too.
Yeah.
Right. So, I guess, is there anything you recall that Alex is really, doesn't seem like he's so infatuated that he can't live without her, because he is on a daily basis.
Oh.
You're with her more than he is.
Oh, yeah.
At that
I mean,
stage.
I still loved her to death. I was like, this is never going to work out because you're too insane. Like, I can't handle, like, this amount of drama. I'm too old. But, I don't know, they said he was down at the bar quite often, like, just like, who did I talk to about this? Where he was just like, yeah, fucking blah, 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 blah. I lost to another guy. And it's like, you know, lose to me. Like, I'm not trying to win anything here, man. Like, we're not a good person, apparently, sometimes, and she just didn't want to deal with it anymore.
I mean, him cutting himself would be one sign that, okay, I want you to leave Jason, but that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
As far as months, weeks go. And it doesn't seem like she's telling you, I'm leaving you and I'm going there.
No. I think Matt would have a better understanding of, like, what was actually going on between the two of them, because he was living there, you know, and he was seeing these interactions. I think she was trying to, like, keep it off of, like, the internet. Like, they just would meet up at his house. Which explains, right? Big bearded Viking-looking man.
But reading your story on Instagram, it seems like you're trying to work things out. You may get together. You have probably, I'd say, from reading it and reading between the lines, you got together sexually in March.
Yeah.
When she'd stop over. So it ain't like you're trying to part ways either.
But it was mostly just like, I'm depressed and losing my mind and trying to figure things out. But like at the same time, I was like, I don't know, man. Like you're confusing me. Like now you want to have a baby with someone. You just aborted a baby. I am so confused. Like she was up and down and left and right. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Were you seeing any other girls during that time?
No. I mean, I think I was pretty much now a single.
So basically she's kind of keeping you here for her stability maybe?
I think she was like still like pandering to me or something, like trying to like keep me in case things didn't work out either way. So I was like, I mean, I was being naive. My roommate says I get fucking invested in people because I see the best in them and then they always burn me. So I was like, yeah, like.
The assessment by Menge's roommate is accurate. Menge should have distanced himself from both McCandless and Woodworth. If McCandless had directed her anger toward him, Menge could have easily ended up as the victim instead of Woodworth.
You know, we'd hang out. You're like, yeah, nothing's going to happen. It's me, fine. We'll just hang out. Like, and then like you'd slowly like get talked in and coerced into stuff. And like, oh, we've been together before. And it's like, fine. You know, it just got to be one of those situations where like, I just need to stop being around you alone because I don't want to get emotionally involved again. I still, you know, it's one thing to love someone, to be actually in love with them. Like, I still cared about her well-being, just like, you know, I care about anybody's well-being.
What other kind of notes or comments did you come up with there as you kind of tried to detail out some
So
of
I had things I've been asked, color of the knife, clothes and their shoes, sexual preference, history of violence, the phone and the DNA they took for me, the weapon, like horns possibly, cutting, his attempt, Matt the roommate, driving her upset, the seat position, why I biked over, her therapy and journals, his verbalization after she ended sexual behavior / sodomy, choking, fear of STD, HIV, and use of protection, forced to use protection / skin or oral, lies about past relationships. Well, that was like an hell of that because he was lying about being with her. I think there's a lot of lies flying between everybody over there. Past assaults.
over there? Where do you mean?
like over in that whole like John Alex slew of nonsense going on. Her meeting Alex on his coming out, the abortion October 4th, 2017. Books given, texts, long paragraphs. I'm Ezra talk, shameful, dismiss. Oh yeah, that was another thing. Is like every time they would talk, she'd just be like, he talks to me like I'm an idiot. He's like, I'm Ezra. I don't know what to do. I'm Ezra. I don't know if I want who I have feelings for anymore. I'm Ezra. It's like she would go over there after things were satisfied sexually. It was like now all of a sudden I'm just annoying to him and he pushes me away. And it's like then I think she started realizing, oh fuck, I fucked this thing up with Jason. Now I don't know if Alex even wants me around. But sometimes he acts like I'm like the moon to him. So then she started, I think, messing around with the John thing, or like flirting with John, and then all of a sudden all this happened, and it became a rape, and it was like, I don't know what's going on. His relationship never being public, Alex John.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, like Alex never like talked about his relationships in public. Like he always had he always had stuff, but he never really talked about like what was going on. So I think a lot of it was like he didn't want stories being like reaching his family. John and Alex, the personality disorder stuff that she was researching, misinformation from law enforcement, drinking and drug habits.
Did she use drugs?
She would smoke once in a while. I know she would smoke weed once in a great while, but she was drinking a lot with those guys. And I always told her, like, you're not 21, dude, and like you can't really handle all this. Like it's different. It's a couple of us like having a social drink together, but like she would go to the bars apparently, and like someone would sneak into like these bars, and I was like, you're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna get your friends in trouble. You're gonna get a DUI. Or not DUI, an underage. You don't have the money to fucking pay for drinks. How are you going to a bar and like risking this kind of stuff? This was all like this stuff like that the question under medication and being. So I was kind of perturbed at that point in my life because I got pulled out of the bar. I don't know who I talked to that time, but I got pulled out of the bar 3 pitchers deep when they took my phone that day. I was not a very happy camper. I kept telling him, I'm very drunk, and I probably shouldn't be talking to you. I can talk to you tomorrow. And he's like, oh, you look sober enough. Get in my Jeep. Okay.
Menge is struggling to wrap his mind around what happened, which is often the case of those with close ties to a murder. He knew both the killer and the victim, and as empathetic as he is, he must have constantly reviewed everything that happened and wondered if he unwittingly contributed to the outcome, or if he could have done anything differently to prevent it.
What's going on? I'm going to take your phone. Well, why are you taking my phone? I want to look at it. Oh, okay. It's like, well, why? There's pictures of my junk on there and stuff. He's like, that doesn't matter. I've seen a lot of penises. I was like, okay, well, shit. I was like, this is going to be like police procedure, man. I'm hammered and sad. But, I mean, that was like stuff that was going on back then. DNA sample. They took my DNA like a couple of days later. After they had told, that was like the whole like misinformation from law enforcement. We're not looking at you as a person of interest anymore. And then like showing up the next day like, can we get your DNA? And it's like, oh my God, man, you guys are hurting my brain. I thought I could, I'm just starting to like figure stuff out. Text Now app, her phone, his phone, her laptop, Facebook, Instagram, his laptop, / his journals, his sexual interests, when confronted, no signs of remorse. That's when I was talking to him about like, what the heck, man? He's just like, I'm like, are you gonna take care of her? Like, you know, like I know you guys are together or something now. Like, he's like, yeah, maybe. You know, like he just was always very nonchalant.
That was, Alex was always?
Yeah. Like he just didn't seem, I think a lot of times he tried to put on a front about being like above and beyond.
But remember when that was? Or when that kind of?
No, not really. I mean,
after the suicide attempt?
Yeah, it was after the attempt. It would have been quite a bit after the attempt.
What was he saying and doing when you're patching him up? Was he crying? Was he like, dude, leave me alone? Or
no, he was.
I wish I'd have done it.
He was being kind of like just. Like he seemed like he fucked up. Cause like, I kept saying to you, I should really report this or something, man. Like I feel like, he's like, I don't want people to know about this. And I was like, I know, but like, are you okay? Like, why is this happening? He's like, no, I was just drunk And Zocker gave me a knife, and I was drunk and laying in bed and fucking around, and I slipped and cut myself. And I was like, this is a really convenient spot to accidentally cut yourself out. So I'm not a complete idiot. He's like, no, I was just drunk and I was fucking around. I was like, well, I don't know. It kind of looks like you tried to do something.
When you got there, was it a pretty fresh cut? Or?
It was pretty fresh. There was still like, you know, the marbling and stuff, and it was pretty deep. But I think that was around, because it had to be after Christmas, because Eric Zocker gave him the knife that he claimed he accidentally cut himself with. So it was definitely after the 24th. Yeah. Sweet. Control through bodily harm.
What's that mean?
Like, I'll cut myself if you don't leave him. You gotta be with me. I don't deserve to live. I'll jump off a fucking bridge kind of talk, you know. Talking with others about, he kept talking to others about a boy he was seeing. Like my ex-girlfriend, they said that he had been talking with her, and then she found out later on that it was Ezra, and then she was like, I don't want anything to do with this shit. Her internet searches / his, because like she was looking up all that weird Bundy shit and stuff, like you're saying, like personality disorders and things like that. And I was like, seems like a weird thing to be like, I don't know, like, is she building a case to like protect herself from the John thing, or like what is going on here? Because she's like, I've seen a lot of parallels in these people that I'm hanging out with right now. Like they're very like this, you know, they're very silver tongued and they're like coercive and they're like they build you up and they kind of like, what's it called, like where they preen you or they pamper you. Groom. They groom you into what they want you to be, and then demanding immediate responses, withholding affection as punishment. So like, I was like, he would just shut down emotionally if she like made him mad for any apparent reason. Like, these are all like things we were talking to, like, because I was like, yeah, like I don't know, like I don't know why I'm super involved in this. Like, it's really hard to be the ex-boyfriend / like trying to be like keeping you mentally stable. That's why I was like, you should probably talk to some people.
McCandless and Woodworth both exhibited toxic behaviors. Together, they would have been unable to sustain a relationship and may have reached this point even without Menge in their lives.
Like therapy-wise, not telling her what she did or said wrong, expecting you to grovel for forgiveness, forgetfulness about things, patronizing her opinion, love bombing to ease bad behavior, so like being really shitty and then also just like being like super affectionate for a little bit. Creating a purgatory of ambiguity about the relationship status, so like never like setting like whether they're dating or not dating or dating. Trust based on sexual preference. I'm not sure what that meant. Subtle but extremely real forms of emotional abuse. Insulting, constant put downs interspersed with words of love. So like, you know, it's just beautiful how stupid you are sometimes, you know? It's like this weird psychological shit that people do sometimes. Like if you create like negatives and positives in sentences, it makes people more interested in you apparently. I found out about this like not too long ago.
That's what he would do?
Yeah, he would like, because it creates like, it's just wonderful how lazy you are. You know, like you mix a positive with a negative in a sentence, and it just makes these people like, what? Like it's supposed to intrigue people apparently or something. She said she started seeing signs that he was doing this all the time, like a positive with a negative. I don't know. That's the constant put downs and interest with words of love. Silence and refusal to communicate. The psychopathology research. Smart talk. I don't feel guilty for anything. I feel sorry for people who feel guilt. That was one of the things that she said he had said to her. Like, I don't feel guilty for anything. I feel sorry for people who feel guilt. The entropy / nihilistic talk. That's pretty much that.
I look at that list. There's something I forgot to ask you about, or maybe the first page there.
One thing just to clarify, you said about he would mock her. Was that Alex would mock her?
Yeah.
Okay. So he would...
Woodworth.
Yeah, he would get his...
He would have his... She said after like coital things were done, there would be no like actual, you know, reciprocation of like cuddling or any kind of stuff. She said it was very cold a lot of times, and then
it would just be like, she's like, well, you know, do that. I'm going to go and do this, like, or whatever. She would make something. He would find a reason because he was very intelligent, but at the same time, like, I think he often thought very, very highly of himself. So he did like to mock people and give people a hard time. And she just wasn't like one of those people that was emotionally good at dealing with it all the time, especially when it's like serious decisions, like, you know, what she's going to do with her life, or what she's going to do with her friends, like how she's going to deal with like the John thing, you know, like, oh, I'm Ezra now, I think it's rape, you know, oh, I'm Ezra and I don't know, but it's like, you know, how would you feel like if, I mean, from her perspective, I guess, if you went to someone for counsel and like to like be told like that everything's going to be okay, and then they have sex with you again, but then they also make fun of you. It's like, you must be losing your mind at that point, you know, like, who do I even trust? Like, I burned bridges with with me. She pretty much burned the bridge with me at that point, so I was like, I'm not dealing with this stuff. You know, Alex and Jenna are pretty much my closest friends, like, and they live, you know, so she's not going to be able to deal with them. So, like, a lot of her other friends are fairly young, like, they're not going to be able to help her deal with these things because they have financial obligations and stuff as it is, too. So, like, she's at this point where she has nothing to hold on to besides her family. And
what's the fear of STD?
Because he didn't use protection, I think, a lot of times, she said, I think. But she would say, like, because especially with, like, the act that was going on, like, there's a higher chance of, like, contracting, like, an STD. And she said that he had lied to her about how many people he had been with, and that he had been, like, celibate for, like, how long, since, like, high school. And I was like, because we were talking about it, like, oh, I thought that that was odd because, like, me and him talk about stuff, you know, because, like, he was in a relationship and he got really sad, and then he was seeing a Sarah girl for a little bit and it didn't work out, and she's like, well, what's this bullshit? I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm just saying, like, you need to talk to him because if you guys are practicing, you've already had one abortion. That's what I'm saying. You're, like, not on any kind of protection. You're also having unprotected sex with somebody that you don't know sexual history from. You haven't had this conversation. Like, you guys should probably do this because, I mean, he's a broke college kid. This is how people end up with kids, and then, like, divorced, you know, and you're a child right now. You're acting like a child, so you can't be raising anything, you know.
But was she worried about being pregnant, or was she more worried about getting an STD? I mean, there's only one way you can get pregnant.
Yeah.
If his understanding of the relationship between McCandless and Woodworth is correct, then McCandless had multiple reasons to harm Woodworth.
So if it's not happening that way.
Yeah, I think it was more with the sexual, because after you start to, like, lose trust with someone, it's, like, hard to, like, well, would they tell me if I have herpes? Would they tell me if I have this? Because, like, you see that so often where people, they just neglect to tell somebody, like, there's this whole new fad of people just not going and getting tested. It's like, well, if I don't know, then I can't be lying to people. It's like, that is insane. You're an insane person. You just refuse to get tested, so you just be like, I'm clean. What? What? Like, how do you sleep at night?
Kind of just to confirm the timeline from February 7th to when this occurred, she went and stayed at Mom's for a while, correct?
There were nights when she was at her mother's house.
Okay. Was there a time when Mom kicked her out of there and said, I can't deal with it anymore?
There was a spot where she was kicked out completely.
Did she come back and stay with you at all during that time? Or?
I think at the time she got kicked out of her mom's, I got her a hotel at least one of the nights, but then I think she moved in pretty post-haste with Joe.
Joe Shane.
Because she was I think she was intended to live in that little house they had at the end of the road, or near the end of the road.
Did she come over to your house at all after that?
There were times where she would just be in the parking lot in her car crying, you know, and I'd be like, what, you know, there was one time where she just needed my help for paying the parking tickets.
Okay.
She's like, here's the cash for it. I was like, okay, cool. Like you need to do these things if you want to have a job. Mm-hmm. Like, I was still trying to be, I don't know, it was hard to be, like, in between, like, someone you still care about, but, like, not knowing if you're being used or not, and trying to be a friend, but also there's, like, this odd sexual tension.
So she brought you the cash, but couldn't go do it herself, or you had to give her the cash?
She brought me the cash because you have to pay online for tickets, apparently, so she had to have a credit card, and, like, she didn't have any other way to do it. She didn't have credit cards.
Okay.
I don't think she might have had a debit card, but I'm not sure.
Was it a City of Eau Claire?
No, I think we went out somewhere by Maybe it was Stanley? I don't know. It wasn't, I don't think it was No Player.
So it was parking tickets?
I think there were like some kind of parking tickets or something she had to pay up.
And they had to be paid online?
They had to be paid online.
Because I was going to say, when we walked in, we seen somebody paying.
Oh yeah, they paid right.
The parking ticket right here at the front desk.
Yeah, this was a different place.
Okay.
What was that broken gun stock for? What was that kept in the car for?
Oh, we found that a long time ago. When I went to do my annual training, we wandered around like an abandoned building.
Where that was at?
That's what happens.
Okay.
Oh, she wasn't with you then when you found it? She would have been with you?
Yeah.
In Wisconsin Rapids?
Yep. So she dropped me off when I went to do my 1 month of annual training. This was like years ago. Or like, this was like the very beginning of our relationship. So that had probably been in her car forever. It was like just the butt end of it, like a broken, like all. And there's the armory, and then just down the road, there's like an old abandoned building we were outside just taking photos, because that's like one of my favorite. Like I take a lot of photos, which is like, it's kind of helpful that I take so many photos all the time, because like it does help me a lot and remember these things. But
do you take photos on anything other than your phone?
No, not really. I never used the DSLR that out. It's just so much more convenient just to use your phone.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Jenna has lent me her camera once in a while, but she would let it to Ezra once in a while, but I don't know. She wasn't very good at taking care of things. Like, she wouldn't put the cap back on, she just threw it in her backpack, and I think that ended pretty quick.
McCandless wasn't a very responsible person and relied on Menge to perform many tasks she should have done for herself. This was another method of manipulation, in which someone makes the other person feel as if they must stay in a relationship to take care of them.
So it seems Ezra rebounded pretty quick after the abortion situation.
I thought that she was dealing with it way too well, because I was like, this doesn't seem like, it just felt really, really weird. It felt really weird how she was.
Did you help pay for it?
I paid for the whole thing.
And you weren't for sure it was even yours?
No. I mean, I was pretty sure at that point, because I didn't have any doubts. I was under the impression that, when I would go to a drill, that I saw her so often, besides when I was working, and when I'm like, what else are you going to be doing? She just hangs out the house most of the time, or.
How much did it cost you?
It was $700 and some bucks, I think. Which maybe kind of.
Did you pay cash, or did?
I think I used my card. It was in the cities. Okay. Well, it felt super depressing, because, I showed up there, so I knew she didn't have the money for the stuff, and I was like, well, all right, this is going to be a shitty day. And I was like, we got to the place, I sat in the waiting room with her for a while, because I think they had to give her some stuff beforehand, wait for it to kick in or something. And then she's like, okay, you can go now. I was like, you don't want me around? Because I can hold your hand, be here, to support you. Even though I'm not 100% behind this decision, I'm still, if you need me. And she's like, no, I think it'd be better. I don't want you to see me like that. And I was like, all right. So. How far along was she then? It was pretty early. But,
was there a lot of discussion between the two of you about that matter?
Not too much. I'm pretty trusting.
She made up her mind about it?
Oh, yeah, the way it is now with the climate, it's mostly just the guy's job to just be there for support. There's so much push for, it's a woman's choice, their body, their choice, all that kind of stuff. It's I was said whatever, as soon as she said she wanted to abort, that same day in the clinic, my heart kind of dropped a little bit, but I was also well, it's not my body, it's not really my decision.
She talked to her mom at all, or?
No, she didn't want to talk to her. At first she said she didn't want to talk to her mom about it, and then she said she did, and she kept wishy-washy, and I was let's just figure out this stuff let's just figure out what we have going on right now. Because, after a month or so, or after however long they make you wait before you can do it, you might be changing your mind. So, just, sit, reflect on it, think about your life right now. Do you want to be raising a kid? Do you want to be doing this? Do you have the finances? Do you have, you have to think about it, but also, think about me, I don't know. It was hard. It was a hard situation, because she was just, backing down from a lot of it and shutting down emotionally.
Did she ever bring it up much after?
All the time. Then she had changed her mind to I wanted it so bad. I was like, you literally told Jenna and stuff, I need to get this fucking thing out of me. I look back at those texts, that she had sent to Julie and stuff, and I was like,
what the hell? You made me feel horrible. Like I was a monster. Because she would tell friends, oh, Jason wanted to abort in distance. Like, but then you were telling other people the opposite. I'm so confused. Like, I'm super confused because, like, I was just letting you make the decision because it's your body. I was just there. And then as soon as, like, the cash was paid, it was like, you should probably leave because I don't want you to see me this way. So I'm wandering around the city feeling horrible, like thinking that, you know, that it's mine. And then later on, like months later, I'm thinking, is that even mine? And, you know, it was a lot all at once, like, you know.
Have you thought that more and more lately?
There is a strong possibility that McCandless suspected that this was another man's child and used Menge to quickly get rid of it before it was apparent it wasn't his.
I mean, I still think
now knowing what you know.
I mean, now I don't know.
It's possible.
I mean, anything's possible, apparently. When I left that apartment that day and I saw him drive off, I thought she's going to come over later, grab those scrubs, or maybe get sushi or some shit, you know?
So you thought she was coming back to your apartment that night? And
I was going to say congratulations for because she was getting her TB test read the next day. She was starting her new job. She needed to pick up scrubs because she didn't have money for scrubs. It was like, that's like when we were talking when they left, was like, you guys are fucking driving me crazy. Like, you guys scare the shit out of me, man. Like, it's like, I don't know what's going on here, but like, Christ, like, get your shit together and go to a public place to have these conversations, you know? And I figured I'd see her later on. She's going to go to work the next day. Like, her next day was like her first day on the job. And I was like, none of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. Like, when I called Joe and found out all that stuff, I was like, why would she risk this all? What is going on? She's not supposed to be driving, apparently. She got a ticket like the night or two before. She's supposed to get the kids off the bus. I didn't hear about any of this, you know. She's gone. No one knows where she's at. She hasn't responded. That's why I sent them a message like, don't tell me you just threw everything away to come to Eau Claire and argue, you know, or do whatever, drop off these things. You should have just told Joe. Well, then I realized that she didn't tell Joe because she took the keys and she wasn't supposed to be driving. Well, like, all this stuff, like, none of it made sense. It was like...
So she wasn't welcome back at your place, really, Alex?
No, Alex...
Your Alex was kind of put the brakes on, we're done here.
No, Alex and Jenna were both like, we don't want her around. She would show up sometimes and just be like, she wanted to hang out and talk, and I'd be like, all right, we'll sit in the parking lot and talk a little bit, but like, I don't want to get in the house, man. It's just too much.
at that time, were your roommates Alex and Jenna, or?
I don't think Jenna was living there yet.
Okay.
I think it was just Alex, but Jenna she came over quite often. She was living with Alon and Dieter, but they kind of like broke their lease and just moved in with their significant others, so she was kind of in the transition period of also just being super lonely there by herself and trying to sort things out.
Okay.
You guys have anything else that really jumped out at you?
Is there anything else that you can think of that you're saying, geez, maybe they ought to know this, or?
I don't know, like, it's like it has to be cute, you know, like there's so much stuff, it's like if you tell someone, draw me a picture, they're like, I don't know what to draw, but if you say, draw me an animal, like you immediately think like horse, you think like cow or something.
Yep.
Well, and a big thing for us is how much direct knowledge do you have, you know?
Yeah. Direct, like.
Well, you know, what's Alex think and do? You're getting that from Ezra.
Yeah.
And not a whole lot from Alex. I mean, you've had some contact with Alex, having some drinks about his past relationships, but you don't have a lot of direct observations regarding those relationships.
Most of his, like, did they ever follow up with Cord and, what the heck's his name? Nick? Is it Nick and Cord? Those are like his two best drinking buddies. They're also philosophers.
Oh, his.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cord
and, I can't think of the Nick's, whatever Nick's name was. There was a whole mess between that situation too. Fucking,
what do you mean?
That whole group of, everything was going to shit in this.
Are they all the philosophers?
Yeah, they were all like the philosophies kind of guys.
So what's going wrong with the town?
Oh, the whole time, at the same time that the Ezra Alex thing goes on, there's like a sex worker in town who they're trying to get into Bolton Refuge House, but everyone's having sex with her and stuff, and she's jumping out the windows for drugs, and I was like, oh, you guys like everyone is going crazy around me. I'm just trying to like keep my few friends alive and happy, like, and keep a little bit of my mental sanity.
It's just like the more you dig into it, you're just like, how much weirder can this get? This can't get any weirder, and it just gets more weird, and it gets more weird, and you're like, I don't understand up from down. Like, when I first walked into that courtroom, or into the people were talking on either side of the thing, and walking down the hallway when the first thing happened, and somebody from the defense was talking about stuff and talking to the DA, and they're all talking in the hallway. I go to this, I see like Aubrey and Harold and all those people, like, and I go over, like, give them a hug. It's the first time I've seen them.
As level-headed as Menge tried to be, it is clear he was in over his head. McCandless was able to take advantage of him far longer than she would have been able to with someone who could examine her claims in a critical rather than emotional manner.
Just them puking in the garbage that day, and I fucking missed them because they're like my little sisters. And as I passed, I hear someone on the sideline saying, like, well, it's a lot easier to prove a homicide than a rape. And then there's like people chuckling and stuff. And it's like, this is like a fucking show to these people. Like, I've lost 2 people I care about. Like, one's in jail, one's dead. Like, this is just all like reality TV to these people. Like, everyone's showing up here like it's fun. And it's like, I'm glad you guys get to take a vacation in my trauma, because I get to live through this every single day. Like, me and Matt, like, we talked once in a while. It's like, this is our lives, man. People can go, like,
so were they the Alex defenders, or I mean, more on his side?
Yeah, it was just like, I'm just like, I don't understand, like, why this is fun to people. Because, like, it's super painful. Like, just early before you guys came, I was going through to try to find that date for when he cut himself. So, like, I went through, like, probably 2 or 3 months, of text back and forth with her. And it's heartbreaking to me still. Like, I think seeing that stuff, and it's just like, my God, what the hell? Why was no one talking to, like, trained professionals? Why wasn't she coming to me? Like, I'm trained somewhat in these things. Why wasn't he going to somebody? Like,
but you didn't see it coming either,
no.
Right?
And everyone assumes that I, like, would have known. They're like, you lived with her for so long, you never saw a single sign. And it's like, I'm not to blame for this, man. Like, I could have never thought, and like, it took me a long time to forgive myself. Like, walking into that house that day, I already thought I risked things. And like, the cops had left, and they were going to go and leave and go to wherever place they were going to go to. But there was still part of me that wanted to take the keys and just drive them someplace. Just abandon my bike there for a little while, drive them someplace, and then come back for my bike. But I figured, like, I already went into a house when she had offered for me to come in, so I wasn't sure if that, was breaking and entering or any of that kind of stuff. I was worried. It was like, I don't want to jeopardize my military career by, like, possibly kidnapping people, because, like, if they don't want to go someplace and I'm taking them someplace, like, I don't trust you guys. I'm taking you guys to a coffee shop. I'm leaving you there. Like, I didn't want to get any further than I already was in, Okay. But I still felt weird. It still felt like a weird vibe, and I was like...
So she was playing in some message to you like she was mad at Alex. And she said she wanted to, like, take some books back or take a book back and tell them off or something.
He had given her some stuff for Christmas, I think, and that's what she was going to drop off.
Like, she still hadn't done that as of March here?
No. I think that's, like, maybe why she went to the races. She thought he was working. I think she definitely went to races because she thought he was working.
Tell him off about what? I mean, what was she going to tell him off about?
And it's like,
he treated me kind of as a possession. And...
Yeah. Well, like all the joking that was going on, because like that whole crew in the back of races, it's like a lot of close guys. And it's just like, I had freaking guys come up to me and be like, oh, so is Alex done with her now? Is she single again? And it was just like, you guys are fucking horrible people, man. Like, these are people's lives. Like, you got John and Alex and all them. It's like, you mess around with each other enough. Like, maybe you guys are mentally strong, but like, you play like these manipulative games with each other, and like this existential, nonsensical, like, nothing matters, man. Like, that's not healthy, dude. Like, you push people around and you mess with their heads too much, they're gonna break, So I thought it was just like stupid that these people that are apparently her friends, there's all this stuff going on at the coffee shop. And, like, maybe human life doesn't have value to you guys, but like, she's already been hurt by how many men in her life, and this is just like a game to everybody now.
Do you feel she really ever had a relationship with him other than sexual?
With Alex?
Yeah. Did they love each other?
I mean, he said that he thought he loved her, or
he told you that?
The night that we talked outside. So like, I forget what night it was, but we were outside races. I was kind of being a dick.
There was no evidence to suggest that the relationship between McCandless and Woodworth was more than physical.
So I was pretty pissed about it. I was like, man, fucking, you know, I kind of had my idea like this stuff was going on. So I started sleeping on the couch because I was sure she was messing around, but I wasn't sure who it was. I was trying to like in my head think like, there's got to be something sketchy going on. Like I just get this vibe. So and she'd always be like, "Well, come upstairs. We'll come upstairs." I'm like, I don't know. I'm sleeping on the couch. I'm fine. I'm fine down here. Oh, come up here. Like you can sleep. We can mess. I don't want to. So like, I wasn't sure if I could trust her. I didn't want to get fucking herpes. I didn't want to get fucking hepatitis. You know. I'm like, no. I'm just gonna stay downstairs. And Alex is like, I sleep downstairs like every day. I was like, I don't. It's not a big deal. Like it's my back. Going my back in the bed. She moves too much. And I'm trying to make excuses, but I just didn't trust what was going on anymore. Well, then I had found out, and I was like, God damn, it's fucking Alex. Like, fuck, man. Like, cause like he's one of my friends, and like also like, dude, I was there.
How'd you find out?
I just found out through the grapevine. Like, and I went to talk to him at Racy's. So I was like, hey, can I bum a smoke? And he's like, yeah. And I was kind of a dick about it. I was like, yeah. You like take things of mine, I'll just take some things of yours, man. He's just like, oh, what is that supposed to fucking do? He's like, I know, man. And he was like, we should probably go outside and talk. And, I mean, even though I can be a dick sometimes, I usually try to diffuse it with humor. Cause like, life fucking sucks, but like, I mean, nothing's worth like, getting in a fight, beating somebody up, doing it. Cause like, people were kind of worried. It's like, no, I'm not gonna hurt dude. Like, I don't hurt people. So we went outside and we were just smoking and we had a conversation. It was like, so, I know about all this stuff, like, what are your intentions? Like, what's gonna happen? And, cause like, she's not with me anymore, like, I know she's, you know, cause she had already moved out and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, there was all the stuff that went on with John's stuff, like, you know, are you gonna take care of her and protect her and like, you actually love her? And he's like, I think so, like, I don't know, maybe. You know, and he like always do that, like, I was like, did you think about, you know, how this would affect, you know, me? Like, why would, like, after it happened, why did you just feel like, you could just message me, be like, Doc, I fucked up, but like, I think I'm in love with your girlfriend, and like, this stuff happened. Cause like, I would have understood, man.
So he didn't know enough to say he is in love with her.
He would wish-wash between like, this is how he was. That's how both of them were.
And when was this? After the suicide attempt?
Yes, this was after the suicide attempt.
Was this after the incident with John then? Or before?
It was, let me think of the date. I know there's a key date. It was the same day, I think, as, there was an event that was close to it.
Was there an art show she was
Yeah, there was an art show she was going to help out with. It was around that area.
Okay.
I don't know if it was that same day or the day after. It was somewhere around that time, though. The art event at Shift, the Touch Me Baby, like live, like you could actually touch the exhibits. But she was supposed to like be a model for one of the masks that Gabe Fisher made, because he made all these like masks and stuff, and they had all this art like you could. But so like yeah, we had to have that conversation, and I mean we left on good terms. Like I talked with him, and I was just like, I'm just disappointed, man. Like I'm disappointed because like I've had these things happen before. You know, where like someone's like, hey, I'm kind of into a guy at work, and someone's like, okay, like, is he a good dude? Like, let me know about him. Like, you know, my friend, you know, one of my exes, Brittany, we're still great friends. It's like, it's not about trusting each other. It's about transparency when it comes to this stuff. It's like,
Menge is extremely passive and doesn't exert himself, even when he's been wronged. He still allows people to use him after they have betrayed him, which only encourages people like McCandless to continue their behavior.
if you're transparent with me, I don't mind. You know, and then the guy turned out to be a dick. I found her like 3 months later on October, like I was skateboarding, like I decided to dress as Marty McFly from Back to the Future, skateboarding over the bridge by Phoenix Park. And she's down by the river, puking in the river with a broken ankle. And I'm like, what are you doing down here, Britt? Well, I got in an argument with my boyfriend. I sprained my ankle trying to get back up because I'm too drunk. All right. So I put her on my shoulder and took her up to Stone's Throw. Well, every time I tried to go outside and call a cab, she'd get more drunk. She'd order another beer. So I was like, no, we're going back to your house. She lived over by 5th in the weird, like, bar, porn shop, hospital area.
Okay, yeah.
So I carried her all the way over there, bandaged her ankle up, put her to bed. She's like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I'm just not a fucking human being, man. Like,
stop being an idiot, though. Like, what are you doing down by the river when you're hammered? You know, you drown every year.
Yeah. Did she ever say why she's down by the river?
Yeah, they were arguing. They wanted a private place to argue. I'm like, you got drunk and decided to privately argue by the water. I'm like, I was like, you just don't have the greatest taste in women, man. You pick people that are like, just not. I'm like, because I think it's just normal people are boring to me. I like interesting people, but they all end up being a little off their rockers.
What attracted you to Ezra?
She was just a very artistic person. Like the way, like we had like, a lot of similar taste in music, a lot of similar taste in art, literature. Just like I don't know, she was always like some of this stuff was like kind of rad. Like her and John and me were all into like vulture culture kind of stuff. Like you find some like random bones and stuff in the woods as long as it's not illegal. Like there's certain birds of prey and stuff like that you're not allowed to take. Certain things like bears and whatnot you have to like, you can't just take an eagle head home with you, But, the boiling down the skulls and then, like, getting them all, like, repositioned and stuff. I mean, that's what's kind of cool to me, like, But, yeah, like, it was always just, like, the on-the-fly wanderlust, kind of, like, well, let's just go do this. Let's just go to the Milwaukee Museum. Let's just go to here. Let's go, it's like, I like that because a lot of my life has been sedentary in Eau Claire as of late, and it's like, I do miss just going and having a partner in crime. Like she used to have like a Cards Against Humanity card in her car that said doing crimes. It's like that was like sitting in her ashtray thing because like she was like my partner in crime. We just go off and do nonsensical things. Like you want to just drive to like someplace outside Stanley and just like hang out in the park and blow bubbles. Just buy a bunch of bubble necks and just be like two idiots in the park. Yeah, sure, why not? Like. Just nonsense, like break the monotony. But I don't know. At some point, I just didn't know who I was dating anymore, because it's there, like Alex had said, like Zink had said, a lot of this stuff doesn't add up, dude. Like some of the stuff she's saying, it's like she's got skydiving lessons from this time. She's living with Hagen. She's doing this. She's doing that. And he's like, try to throw that all into like the lifespan that she's had. It doesn't fit, man. And like Alex is always, that's what I expect best friend because like he'll tell me, I'll tell him shit when he doesn't want to hear it, but it's the truth, and he'll do the same thing to me. Mm-hmm. Like
you always listen to his advice.
No, I'm always listening, but I don't always act on it.
They allow Menge to go off topic to give him a chance to de-stress for a few minutes.
I feel like he could live my life a lot better than I could, but whatever. I could live his life a lot better too. I'm not two fucking credits away from an environmental biology degree. Dude loves fly fishing, should be working at the DNR, he's working at a pipe shop. Like, you're too smart for this, you're going crazy on $10 an hour, man. You got health insurance, like, come on. Well, you can marry me, give me those military benefits. It's like, I'm not marrying you. You know what happens if I marry you? I can't be with a woman ever again. Why? I'll go to jail. You can't cheat on your husband/wife. He's like, really? It's like, yeah. It's like, that's funny. I'm like, no, it's not funny.
So did you go to college at all, or?
A little bit. I did a little bit. I don't know. I want to do some more stuff. I'm thinking about this PA thing, though.
So do you need some education on that, too, then? You actually, or does the military give you
the military, probably, a lot of my things are accredited, but it's like, military stuff doesn't always transfer over. That's the biggest problem. Especially when it comes to healthcare.
How many years you got with the Guard?
Yeah, I'm in the Guard now, so it's like, probably like 10.
You have any active years?
Yeah, a little bit, but well, it's hard for me to like want to leave the military, but at the same time,
you got 10 stay.
Yeah,
and I didn't. I wish I did.
They screwed up. You know, if you know anybody that's still in, but they messed with the retirement stuff.
Did they?
They changed it to like this profit, like so now you pay in, and it's like a 401k pretty much. So like they match a certain amount. Before it was like the legacy plan they call it. It's like you do 20, you get so much.
Whatever your rank was.
Yeah. This new one, it's like they're not going to pay for your entire life. Like it's like a 401k. So
depends on what you put in.
It depends on how much you put in, and it depends on what they match.
How well it does.
How much you take out per year. So they're pushing everybody to switch over to this new one, and I was like, I don't know, man, it's pretty sketchy. I don't like that idea. Like you could outlive your money so easily.
So you don't have to switch.
No, you don't have to. It was you had your choice up until like October when the new budget opened up to switch over.
So you stayed?
I stayed at that one. Because like they were pushing it so hard, and I was telling everybody, it's a trap, dudes. Don't do it. It's a trap.
looks so lucrative. Yeah, why would they be asking us to do it? They're going to save so much money.
So ranker, you know?
I've been moving around now. I was a sergeant, was sitting in a staff position. Now I'm like, I don't know. They keep messing. I have to go do some more training in February, get my stuff back. I'm so sick of sitting in slots, getting ranked up, getting moved around, getting this, getting that. Because now it's all based off of, they have a new system where before you could sit in the slots, you were automatically promoted, and then you didn't have to do your, what's it called? Not DLC, your ALC. Yeah, you didn't have to do any of that stuff. So you're just promoted like kind of like a field rate promotion. Now it's like, they make you sit in these slots, you're retaining a slot, but then they have me training people that were coming in for my position before sending me to these things because they're like, oh, you have to go research, you have to do this, you have to do that, oh, you've used up all your training hours, oh, train another person, do this, do that. Like, sitting in a 6 slot for how long, working as a 6, getting paid as like a 4, being a 5, what's going on, man?
Do they have warrants at all?
Yeah.
How do you get those?
It's pretty much MOS specifics, like helicopter repairman, stuff like that. You have to be pretty specific.
Not the medical side?
No, not on the medic side. I think our only one is Chief Bear. He's like some kind of mechanic. I don't know, man.
Well, Travis, you got anything else? I'm kind of...
You guys spent?
Well, I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate your service, too. And
do you know if there's anything like... I gotta call that number, right? Because they're not gonna make me come there for 22 or 20 days.
Who issued the subpoena to you, do you know?
Was it the defense or the prosecution?
I don't know. I picked it up here. Because I thought that...
It was served to you?
I don't know if you guys are the ones that visited while I was gone.
Yeah, we did.
Because, like, Jenna messaged me, she's like, oh, some guys were here, some like plainclothes officers were here. It's like, oh shit. And I got excited because maybe they found my bike because my bike got stolen.
Oh, okay.
I biked to Detroit, and I came back here, and some jerk stole it, like, 2 days later.
Well, just because the sheriff's office served it, it could be from our agency yet, since you're in Eau Claire, or it could be from the defense, so.
Yeah. It should say down on the bottom portion of the subpoena who it's from, if it's from the defense or the prosecution.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the whole...
Look at it, and if it's the defense, contact whatever number's on there, and if it's the DA from Dunn County, contact them to say, when do you need me? They won't need you for that full length.
Something like this.
They might not know yet, but as it gets closer, you'll be able to communicate with them.
They'll be able to give you a block of time. They might say, okay, have a response time of so much within these days.
We got the same thing. They got a window like this, and we ain't gonna have everybody there the first day.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't want to sit in a room and stare at the back of her head for that long.
Menge is reluctant to return to court. It has been an emotional strain already, and he was under the impression that his part was over.
Well, and you'd probably be sequestered. You probably won't be able to sit in the courtroom anyway.
Is that sequestered?
All witnesses usually in major trials aren't allowed to have interaction with they can't listen to the testimony of other witnesses.
Roger that.
So
once in a while after, they'll allow you to stay.
Yeah, if they release you.
Possibly.
Okay, that's better.
So it could even be more boring if you're there even longer.
Yeah, you can just sit in the
hallway.
hallway.
We might play cards or something.
They just sit you in a room, you just
you sit in the hallway pretty much.
Yeah, usually it's like,
they'll narrow it down.
as the day gets going, they'll say you're going to be between maybe 1 and 3 p.m. or something like that. So, or give me your cell phone number. If it looks like they're going to move you up or something, they'll call you, but you'll have to be close.
But that like 2nd to 20-second window, that's not going to be all, like every single day they're not going to be doing it though, right?
Yeah.
Every single day? For how long?
Probably other than Saturdays and Sundays. They might run Saturdays, usually not.
Is it like a certain amount of hours every day, or?
Usually normal courthouse hours.
Yeah, and just depending on what's going and what they need to get done.
4:30.
It could go into the evening sometimes if they got a traveling witness they need to get done.
Yeah.
But I think,
I don't really have a whole lot to say, I don't think.
I don't know. There's a lot of things that can go on between now and then, but
absolutely.
Those photos I raised, these were of particular concern because we didn't know who wrote Life Starts Now, but you did that.
Yeah, I wrote the Life Starts Now.
And that was all based on the conversation that she had with
her father would show. Yeah.
Okay. What was his real impetus there? Why would he think life starts now? Because she hasn't proven life starts at any moment.
I think he's just trying to pump up his kid. You know, I mean, he took on the responsibility of raising her. You know,
right.
Rosie had split up with her, because I saw her biological father at the court hearing it. Like, I heard some whispers from her side of the family, like, oh, that's her real dad. She's under the, I don't know if people just lie to her or what, but like, she's under the impression that her real dad is like somewhere down south, like as a traveling artist, and he's just like this cranked out dude who looked like a junkie drug dude. So I see him, he comes in all disheveled, you know, dirty, messy clothes, you know, possibly track marks or just scratch marks on his arms. And I'm like, oh, like, Jesus Christ, have people been lying to this girl since she's been born? Because, like, she thinks he's like this traveling artist, and he actually lives in the same town. And no one, like, what is wrong with these people, you know?
I guess we never really totally touched on it. Has she ever had any discussion with you about what happened out there?
Not really. That's like one of the things, like, when I first went into the psych ward to visit her, we didn't talk about a bunch of sites like art and things and music and whatnot. And she's never really talked about it much inside the letters or anything either.
Okay.
She's just trying to talk to, like, these aspirations of, like, how life's going to be and this and that. And, like, even Allison Kestrel, like, she's one of the girls she used to date John for a little while. She keeps randomly talking to me about it, like, oh, I'm going to go visit her, and I've been Skype, you know, I was in a Skype call with her, and this and that. And I was like, I know you want to talk to me about this, because I'm like the closest one involved, but like, I don't want to talk about all that often. She's like, oh yeah, you know, she wrote me this letter, and it's really hard to respond, and I'm like, yeah, I know it's really hard to respond because you don't know what to say. Like, well, she thinks she's coming home in April. And I was like, I know. I would try to read some of this stuff, and it's like, I can't relate or I can't talk to you about this because I don't know what's going on in your head. I don't know what kind of drugs they have you on. I don't know what kind of mental state. Like, she's been reading a lot of, like, philosophy, or not philosophy, like, spiritual things, I think, now, and, like, at least that's what Allison had said. And I was like, I even reached out to John recently. He was going through AA. And, well, he reached out to me first. He's like, hey, I gotta, like, my sponsor says I have to make, like, these preparations, you know, and stuff. It's part of, like, my process. And I was like, all right. So, like, I know you probably don't want to see me. And I was like, not really, but, like, if you gotta do it, dude. It's like we met at the coffee shop, and I didn't say a whole heck of a lot, you know. He talked at me, and I was like, yeah, like, do you feel any better? He just wanted to explain himself more and stuff. And I was like, you know, I loved you like a brother so much. Like, you know, I fucking cared so much about you guys. And, like, every fucking one of you, like, the only person not getting fucked was me, but I was getting fucked by everybody. Literally.
Feel better or worse after talking to him?
I felt better. It's just sad to see, like, a dude that, you know, like, so close to you. Like,
did you learn anything out of it?
Not really.
Or do you think he was still sticking to his story?
I mean, it's another thing. It's like, you don't know. You never know. Like, there's only two people that know. One's dead and one's kind of, like, not.
After everything that has happened, it isn't surprising that Menge struggles to believe anyone who was involved.
I mean, it's like, is she going to tell me the truth, or is she going to try to self-preserve? Like, who knows? Like, at this point, it's just a toss-up. My worst-case scenario is just not finding out the truth. Like, guilty, innocent, that's not a worst-case scenario. It's just, like, some technicality, some bad thing that, like, gets jostled, and, like, the case just gets, like, fucked, you know? Mm-hmm. I just want to know why did this happen, you know?
What was your thinking? I mean, you knew about the marionette thing.
The marionette, like her...
Yeah, I mean, when she went to school.
Yeah.
And then, basically then the Alex thing, then the John thing.
Oh, there was, like, so much going on.
Was there any others in there?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
And any that you're specifically aware of, though, or?
For assaults, you mean?
Yeah. Any names?
I don't know any names. I know that I know the neighbor of Joe is one of the accused. I can't think of what his name is.
But that was some years ago?
Same neighbor. Like, he still lived across the street, apparently.
But years ago, though, or when did
yeah, this was apparently years ago. Apparently, one of the nights when she was over at Joe's, she had called, that was one of the times she called me on the phone. She's like, downstairs watching Netflix. She's like, yeah, I just feel really uncomfortable. Can I just talk with you? I was like, I'm kind of tired, actually. Can I just go to bed? And she's like, well, the neighbor's over, and I just feel, like, really off. And I was like,
Okay. All right. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm sick of being the good guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, like there was some cousin, I don't know what the teacher's name was, but it was a teacher, and I guess she would hang out in his room after school quite a bit. She painted a mural. I'm not sure she painted a mural.
But nothing like the last couple of years where we haven't filled the dots other than Alex and John, potentially.
Alex, John, maybe Hagen's brother, but like I said, like Hagen she said that Hagen was pretty shitty to her too. Like I hung out with Hagen. He's not so bad. Like we randomly ran into each other at a biking event. And I was just like, "You doing okay, man?" He's like, "Yeah, how are you?" I was like, "I'm not the greatest," you know, and we chit-chatted. And he's not, like, we run into each other every once in a while, because I bike up towards Altoona by the fire station, because that's where FedEx is. And every once in a while, I come down that hill at that intersection where you're going to cross to go by Banbury and stuff, I'll run into Hagen there, and we'll just be like, "Hey, you want to go for a sprint?" "Yeah, I'm going to sprint around town a little bit." And he's just he's an odd duck too, but a good dude. It's like, I just don't know who to trust in these things. It's like, this has really messed with my ability to, like, look at, you know, for a while there was like, law enforcement's freaking me out, man. I don't know if I can trust them. I'm not a suspect. They put, like, looking for bikers in the paper. What the heck? Then they show up for DNA. Okay. Like, I'm trying to be as transparent as possible, you know? And I got John's stuff, like him lying to me. I got, you know, all this. It's like, oh my God, I'm going insane. I just want this to, like, make sense, you know? So that's why I started writing stuff down. Like, I'll use exact dates and the things that I know that are solid to try to make some sense of this. Well, then it raises even more questions, because you're like, holy shit, like, that could have maybe not been my baby. Wow, that's really convenient, because if it was if she was that far along, I might have been in California. I'm like,
Once you start questioning the things you were told, the more discrepancies you may start to discover. When Menge went back over his time with McCandless, he was startled to discover how much of their relationship may have been a lie.
What is going on? Like, it's like you want to know, but the more you dig, the more asinine and, like, the more convoluted. It's like those people that put the crazy string things on their walls, you know?
Was there a possibility of doing DNA back then? I mean,
I probably could have, but, like,
you guys didn't discuss it.
We didn't discuss anything.
Pretty much just went with
At that point, you were kind of convinced that it was yours, right?
Yeah, I was completely convinced. And, like, it just didn't seem like it was a subject. Like, she just, you know, she wanted it taken care of, but, like, also at the same time, yeah, like, I don't know. That actually irritated me. It was like, after the fact, she made it sound like I wanted to keep it so bad, but I just didn't know how to talk to you about it. It was like, that is bullshit. Like, you can't just do this after the fact, because you never talked to me. You never said you wanted anything. She's like, well, I just didn't know if you wanted to be with me like that long. I was like,
then talk to me.
Then why didn't you talk to me? You know, like, this is, you know, I don't know.
Do you have a current phone number for John or Wade? Do you know where he's at right now?
John,
Hansen?
Hansen? Aaron, not Rogers. One of my coworkers in the cities. Grant the cop's texting me too. He's one of my soldiers. His name has changed in my phone.
Is that like your bike serial number on yours?
This?
Yeah.
I think it's an electrical thing. One of my friends made this. John's is I want to go to the coffee shop. I mean, I don't know. I try to, like, we've been cordial. Like, we hang outside once in a while, like, if I'm at Racy's still. Because, like, now that Jeremy sold the place, I don't mind going back there as much, because I just did not get along with the old owner. He was kind of, I don't know, there was some weird stuff going on with that guy and his staff I didn't abide by.
How long ago did that change hands?
Maybe a month and a half, 2 months. Zach Olmstead from the Jam, like, Lismore kind of thing bought it out.
Okay.
But, I mean, Jeremy's mom was, like, struggling with cancer, so I think they're going to move and do some stuff. But, no, like, I started going back, and every once in a while I see John outside, and it's like we try to pretend like, you know, things fine, but, like, you can still feel, like, the tension.
Yeah.
It's like, how have you been?
Until you're finally past it, it's there.
How's Warren? Warren's good. He's a good kid. He's like better than me, better than I could ever be. It's like, I just have to try too hard, huh? He's like, fuck you too, man. So I'm like, well, I don't know, man. Like, it's hard to, like, because we used to have such a great rapport. You know, like, we were like, him and Josh, that I went to the Redwoods with, they weren't getting along for the longest time, because Josh found out he was messing around with his sister. And he was pissed off about it because he didn't like the way John treated women. You know, he's like, I don't like the way my sister's not emotionally stable, so like you shouldn't mess around with her. So they got in a big argument, and before I had gone to research, because we played D&D together, I created an entire campaign, spending like hundreds of dollars, spent 80 plus 90 some hours like writing this stuff up, getting it ready, so I could forcibly get them to be in a room together and hang out and just play in a world where all this shit didn't happen. Because they talked to, they almost died in Spain together. You know, they used to be best friends. And it hurt me to see their relationship fall apart.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's tough.
And then just come back to all that stuff. I was like, I can't believe it. Like, John, like, what the hell, man? I fucking love you guys.
Anything else?
I can't think of anything at the moment.
I'm going to let Brian know that we're done. So.
I bore you guys?
No, absolutely not. I'm a weird dude, man. You had a lot of good information for us.
So you cleared up a lot of things that we at least had questions for. Appreciate you giving us a journey.
Oh, yeah. I didn't expect to be done with work so early. I don't know what the heck's going on. One of the kids apparently crashed one of the vehicles, and then some other stuff's happening with one of them, so we don't have enough vehicles now, so.
Is it seasonal then, or are you going to stay on? Or
I might stay on. I guess it all depends on what. I mean,
the money's got to be good.
The money's good, but like, I don't want to turn down a chance to like go to check out the Ukraine if they do offer me a Ukraine deployment, and like, I don't know, just something that doesn't change the pace. I like being able to get out of town once in a while. Fresh perspectives on things. Going to Louisiana was great.
And the drive to Florida probably wasn't too bad.
After her arrest and during her trial, McCandless changed her story countless times, each one inconsistent with the forensic evidence. On November 1st, 2019, Ezra McCandless was convicted of first-degree intentional homicide in the stabbing death of Alex Woodworth. On February 7th, 2020, McCandless was sentenced to life in prison, with eligibility for parole after 50 years. That'll do it for today. If you like this video and want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link in the description below where you can do just that. Thank you for watching, and stay safe.